The idea that extraterrestrial beings visited Earth in ancient times and influenced the development of human civilization has captivated the public imagination for decades. Popularized by books, documentaries, and TV shows like Ancient Aliens, this theory proposes that advanced alien visitors played a crucial role in shaping the technological, cultural, and architectural achievements of ancient societies. Proponents argue that mysterious monuments, unexplained advancements, and recurring motifs in ancient art and mythology point to extraterrestrial contact. However, this theory has been met with skepticism and criticism from the scientific community, who argue that it oversimplifies the accomplishments of ancient civilizations and relies on speculative interpretations of evidence. In this exploration, we will delve into the key points of the Ancient Astronaut Theory, examine the evidence presented by its proponents, and consider the arguments made by critics who challenge its claims. About the AI voice, my accent is too strong to be understandable, so I decided to use this instead. Also, I spent hours on this video, so please leave your thoughts behind in the comments section. And now, let's roll into the topic of ancient aliens. The Ancient Astronaut Theory is the idea that extraterrestrial beings visited Earth in ancient times and played a significant role in shaping early human civilizations. This theory suggests that advanced alien beings interacted with early humans, providing knowledge, technology, and even genetic influence that helped shape the course of history. Proponents argue that many ancient structures, myths, and artifacts contain evidence of alien intervention, pointing to the inexplicable advancements seen in early societies. Some theorists claim that early humans mistook these extraterrestrial visitors for gods due to their superior technology and knowledge, which was beyond human comprehension at the time. Supporters of this theory often cite ancient texts and religious scriptures that describe beings descending from the sky, riding in flying vehicles, or possessing supernatural abilities. In the Bible, for instance, the prophet Ezekiel's vision of a flying chariot with spinning wheels has been interpreted by some as a description of a spacecraft. Similarly, ancient Hindu texts like the Vedas mention vimanas, flying machines said to be used by the gods, which some believe were actually advanced alien craft. The Sumerian civilization, one of the earliest known human societies, recorded stories of sky gods called the Anunnaki, who supposedly descended from the heavens and granted wisdom to humanity. Ancient Egyptian, Mayan, and Greek myths also contain numerous references to powerful beings arriving from the sky, further fueling speculation that these accounts were inspired by extraterrestrial encounters. Architectural wonders such as the Great Pyramids of Giza, Stonehenge, Puma Punku, and the Nazca Lines are often cited as possible evidence of alien involvement. Many of these structures exhibit levels of precision and engineering skill that seem highly advanced for the civilizations that built them, leading some to argue that extraterrestrials either assisted in their construction or provided the knowledge necessary to achieve such feats. For example, the enormous stone blocks used in the pyramids and other megalithic structures were cut, transported, and placed with incredible accuracy, prompting questions about how ancient civilizations managed to accomplish these tasks without modern technology. Similarly, the Nazca Lines in Peru, vast geoglyphs etched into the desert floor that can only be fully appreciated from the air, have led some to speculate that they were created as signals or landing markers for ancient extraterrestrial visitors. Another key aspect of the Ancient Astronaut Theory is the possibility of genetic manipulation. Some theorists propose that aliens may have altered human DNA in the distant past, accelerating our evolution and intelligence. This idea is partly based on the so-called missing link in human evolution, where there appears to be an unexplained leap in brain size and cognitive ability compared to other primates. Some believe that this sudden advancement could have been caused by direct alien intervention, whether through genetic engineering or interbreeding with early humans. Ancient artwork and carvings sometimes depict humanoid figures with elongated skulls, large eyes, or unusual features, leading to speculation that these could be representations of extraterrestrial beings or human-alien hybrids. While mainstream historians and scientists largely dismiss the Ancient Astronaut Theory as pseudoscience, it remains a popular subject of speculation, fueling countless books, documentaries, and debates. Some researchers argue that ancient civilizations were simply more advanced and resourceful than we often give them credit for, and that their achievements can be explained through human ingenuity rather than extraterrestrial intervention. However, others maintain that the similarities in myths, structures, and unexplained artifacts across different cultures provide compelling evidence that our ancestors may have had contact with beings from beyond Earth. Whether regarded as a fascinating possibility or pure fantasy, the ancient astronaut theory continues to captivate the imagination of those who seek to uncover the mysteries of our past. Erich von Daniken's theories are central to the ancient astronaut theory and have played a major role in popularizing the idea that extraterrestrials visited Earth in ancient times. His 1968 book Chariots of the Gods presented the argument that many ancient structures, myths, and artifacts suggest the presence of advanced alien visitors who influenced early human civilizations. Von Daniken proposed that these extraterrestrials were mistaken for gods by early humans and that their technology was interpreted as divine power. His theories challenge conventional historical narratives by suggesting that human progress was not solely the result of natural evolution and ingenuity but was instead guided by interactions with intelligent alien beings. One of von Daniken's key arguments is that many ancient civilizations, despite being geographically separated, shared similar mythological themes involving gods descending from the heavens. He pointed to various religious texts, such as the Bible, the Hindu Vedas, and Sumerian clay tablets, which describe powerful beings arriving from the sky in flying vehicles. For example, he interpreted Ezekiel's biblical vision of a wheel within a wheel as a description of an extraterrestrial spacecraft rather than a spiritual or symbolic event. He also examined the Hindu epics, which describe flying machines known as vimanas, arguing that these were not mere myths but accounts of advanced alien technology witnessed by ancient people. Von Daniken also focused on ancient monuments and structures that exhibit an advanced level of engineering and precision, suggesting that they may have been built with extraterrestrial assistance or under alien guidance. He argued that sites such as the Great Pyramid of Giza, the stone city of Puma Punku in Bolivia, and the Nazca Lines in Peru contain evidence of sophisticated knowledge that ancient humans should not have possessed. He questioned how early civilizations were able to move massive stones weighing hundreds of tons and place them with extraordinary accuracy, often aligning them with celestial bodies. According to his theory, these feats would have been extremely difficult, if not impossible, with the tools and knowledge available to those societies at the time. The Nazca Lines, which form enormous geometric shapes and animal figures that can only be fully seen from the air, were particularly intriguing to von Daniken, as he speculated that they might have been created as signals or landing strips for ancient extraterrestrial visitors. Another significant aspect of von Daniken's theories is the idea that aliens may have played a role in human evolution. He proposed that extraterrestrials could have altered human DNA or even interbred with early hominids, accelerating our intelligence and development beyond what would have occurred naturally. He pointed to ancient depictions of humanoid figures with elongated skulls, large eyes, or other unusual features as possible evidence of alien-human hybrids. Some ancient artworks and carvings show figures wearing what appear to be helmets or spacesuits, which von Daniken interpreted as representations of ancient astronauts rather than purely symbolic depictions of gods. Despite the widespread popularity of his ideas, von Daniken has faced significant criticism from historians, archaeologists, and scientists, who argue that his claims lack empirical evidence and rely on speculation rather than rigorous research. Many scholars believe that the achievements of ancient civilizations can be explained by human ingenuity, trial and error, and technological advancements that were more sophisticated than previously thought. Critics also argue that von Daniken often misinterprets or selectively presents historical and archaeological evidence to fit his theories. However, despite these criticisms, his work has inspired countless discussions, books, documentaries, and television shows, such as the long-running series Ancient Aliens. Whether viewed as groundbreaking speculation or pseudoscience, Erich von Daniken's theories have left a lasting impact on popular culture and continue to fuel curiosity about the possibility of extraterrestrial contact in Earth's distant past. His work challenges conventional narratives and encourages people to question the origins of human civilization, making the ancient astronaut theory one of the most intriguing and controversial ideas in alternative history. The theory that extraterrestrials may have played a role in the construction of the pyramids is one of the most well-known claims in the ancient astronaut theory. The Great Pyramid of Giza, in particular, is often cited as evidence that ancient civilizations had assistance from advanced beings, as its precision, alignment, and sheer scale continue to baffle historians, engineers, and archaeologists. Supporters of the ancient alien hypothesis argue that the technology and knowledge required to build the pyramids far exceeded what should have been possible for the ancient Egyptians using only primitive tools, and they suggest that the builders may have either received direct help from extraterrestrial beings or were given advanced knowledge that enabled them to complete the structures. One of the main arguments in favor of this theory is the sheer size and precision of the pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Giza was originally 146.6 meters, 481 feet, tall and is composed of approximately 2.3 million limestone blocks, some weighing as much as 80 tons. The method by which these massive stones were transported, lifted, and placed with near-perfect alignment remains a mystery. While mainstream historians suggest that ramps, pulleys, and an enormous workforce were responsible for the construction, ancient astronaut theorists argue that such explanations are insufficient given the level of precision achieved. The pyramid sides are aligned almost perfectly with the cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west, an accomplishment that would have required highly advanced knowledge of astronomy and engineering. Additionally, the gaps between the massive stone blocks are so precise that not even a sheet of paper can fit between them, raising questions about how such a feat was accomplished with the tools available at the time. Proponents of the extraterrestrial assistance theory also point to the fact that pyramids and pyramid-like structures appear in civilizations across the globe, from Egypt to Mesoamerica and even in parts of China. While mainstream scholars attribute this to independent cultural evolution and the practicality of pyramid-shaped construction, some theorists suggest that the similarity in design indicates a shared source of knowledge, possibly from extraterrestrial visitors who influenced multiple civilizations. The ancient Egyptians themselves believed that their gods came from the stars, with many of their myths revolving around celestial beings who descended from the sky. Some researchers argue that these gods, such as the deity Osiris, may have been based on real extraterrestrial visitors who imparted knowledge to early human societies. Another intriguing aspect of the pyramid alien theory is the possibility that the Great Pyramid was not merely a tomb, as mainstream Egyptologists claim, but rather an energy-generating structure or a form of alien technology. Some alternative researchers believe that the pyramid may have functioned as a type of power plant, harnessing natural energy in ways we do not yet understand. They argue that the internal chambers, shafts, and the use of materials such as granite, which has high electrical conductivity, suggest that the pyramid had a purpose beyond serving as a royal burial site. Some theories propose that the structure could have emitted electromagnetic energy or even functioned as a wireless power transmitter, similar to Nikola Tesla's later experiments with wireless electricity. Despite the widespread fascination with the idea that aliens played a role in constructing the pyramids, mainstream historians and archaeologists firmly reject this theory. They argue that there is substantial evidence showing how the pyramids were built by human labor, using simple but effective tools, extensive planning, and a large workforce. Ancient records and inscriptions depict workers engaged in the construction process, and archaeologists have uncovered workers' villages near the pyramids, indicating that the structures were built by skilled laborers rather than extraterrestrial forces. However, proponents of the ancient astronaut theory maintain that the precision, scale, and astronomical alignment of the pyramid suggest a level of knowledge and technology that goes beyond what was previously believed to be possible for ancient civilizations. Whether the pyramids were built solely by human ingenuity or with the aid of extraterrestrial beings remains a topic of speculation and debate. While mainstream archaeology continues to support the idea that the pyramids were the product of human effort and engineering, the notion that they may have been influenced or assisted by otherworldly visitors continues to capture the imagination of those who believe that history may hold deeper secrets than we currently understand. The Nazca Lines are one of the most mysterious and intriguing archaeological sites in the world, and they have become a key focus for proponents of the Ancient Astronaut Theory. Located in the Nazca Desert of southern Peru, these massive geoglyphs were created by removing the reddish-brown iron oxide-coated pebbles on the surface to reveal the lighter-colored earth beneath. They cover an area of nearly 450 square kilometers, 170 square miles, and depict a wide range of figures, including animals, plants, geometric shapes, and long, straight lines that stretch for miles. While mainstream archaeology attributes their creation to the Nazca civilization between 500 BCE and 500 CE, ancient astronaut theorists argue that these enormous designs may have had a connection to extraterrestrial visitors. One of the most perplexing aspects of the Nazca Lines is their massive scale and precise execution. Some of the figures, such as the famous hummingbird, monkey, and spider, are hundreds of feet long and can only be fully appreciated from the air. Given that the Nazca people had no known means of flight, skeptics question how they could have designed and constructed such vast figures with such accuracy. Mainstream scholars suggest that the Nazca people used rudimentary surveying techniques, such as stakes and ropes, to create the designs. However, ancient astronaut theorists propose that the lines were created under the guidance of, or in response to, extraterrestrial visitors who may have had the ability to fly and view the figures from above. Some researchers believe that the straight lines, some of which run for several miles without deviation, may have served as landing strips or navigational markers for alien spacecraft. The idea is that these lines, many of which do not form recognizable images, were laid out to assist extraterrestrial visitors in landing or taking off from Earth. This theory is reinforced by the fact that the lines are incredibly well preserved, despite their age, leading some to speculate that they were originally designed with durability in mind, potentially for repeated visits by advanced beings. However, critics argue that the Nazca civilization could have used these lines for religious or ceremonial purposes, possibly as pathways for processions or as part of an astronomical calendar. Another aspect of the Nazca alien theory involves the depictions of humanoid figures within the geoglyphs. One of the most famous figures, sometimes called the astronaut, is a large humanoid figure with an oversized head and large, circular eyes. Ancient astronaut theorists believe that this figure may be a representation of an extraterrestrial being, possibly one that visited the Nazca people and was recorded in their artwork. While mainstream scholars suggest that the figure represents a deity or shaman, its distinct features and isolated placement have fueled speculation that it could be a stylized depiction of an alien entity. Additionally, the Nazca civilization is known for its advanced understanding of irrigation and water management, which some theorists believe may have been influenced by extraterrestrial knowledge. The Nazca people built a complex system of underground aqueducts, known as puquios, which provided a steady water supply in an otherwise arid environment. Some researchers proposed that their ability to develop such an effective water management system could indicate outside influence, possibly from a more technologically advanced civilization. Despite the intrigue surrounding the Nazca lines, most archaeologists and historians believe that they were created by the Nazca people for religious, astronomical, or ceremonial purposes. Some scholars argue that the lines were designed to be seen by gods in the sky, rather than by extraterrestrial visitors, and that their alignment with certain celestial bodies suggests that they may have been used as a form of astronomical calendar. Others believe that they were pathways used in religious rituals, with the figures representing deities or important cultural symbols. Regardless of their true purpose, the Nazca lines remain one of the most enigmatic ancient sites on Earth. While mainstream researchers continue to study them through conventional archaeological methods, the possibility that they may have been connected to extraterrestrial visitors continues to capture the imagination of those who believe that our ancestors may have had contact with beings from beyond our world. The theory that the biblical descriptions of flying objects, particularly the visions recorded in the Book of Ezekiel, could be evidence of extraterrestrial encounters has been a key point for proponents of the Ancient Astronaut Theory. Ezekiel's vision, described in the first chapter of the Book of Ezekiel, involves a dramatic encounter with a celestial being that comes from the sky in a chariot-like vehicle, which some theorists interpret as a depiction of a UFO or extraterrestrial spacecraft. In his vision, Ezekiel sees a whirlwind descending from the heavens, followed by a great cloud and fire that had the appearance of gleaming metal. Within the cloud, Ezekiel describes the sight of 4 living creatures with human-like appearances but with wings and multiple faces. They are accompanied by a mysterious wheel within a wheel that seems to move in every direction without turning. Ancient astronaut theorists argue that Ezekiel's description bears striking similarities to modern accounts of UFO sightings and alien encounters. The chariot described in Ezekiel's vision is often likened to a spacecraft, with the whirlwind and fire suggesting propulsion systems, and the wheels being interpreted as spacecraft engines or other advanced technology. The wheels that Ezekiel describes as spinning within one another have been compared to the design of modern flying craft, which often utilize rotating parts or advanced technology that allows for smooth, multidirectional movement. The idea that the beings within the vision could be extraterrestrial is also supported by the description of their unusual appearance, such as their multiple faces and their ability to move in any direction. These creatures are not portrayed as gods or angels in the traditional sense, but rather as beings with technology far beyond human understanding. In addition to Ezekiel, other biblical texts are sometimes cited as potential evidence of extraterrestrial encounters. The book of Genesis, for example, tells the story of the Nephilim, a group of beings described as the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men. Some interpretations of this passage suggest that the sons of God could have been extraterrestrial visitors who interbred with humans, leading to the creation of the Nephilim, who are often portrayed as giants or beings of great power. This idea has been linked to theories about ancient aliens manipulating human genetics, as mentioned in other parts of the Ancient Astronaut Theory. The connection between Ezekiel's vision and UFO sightings has also been explored in the context of religious interpretations of extraterrestrial encounters. Some theorists believe that the biblical accounts of angels, gods, and other supernatural beings may actually be describing extraterrestrial beings who visited Earth in ancient times, and that these encounters were interpreted by people through the lens of their religious and cultural beliefs. For example, beings from the sky might have been viewed as divine or godlike because their technology was so advanced that it seemed magical to those who witnessed it. While these interpretations are far from mainstream, the comparison of Ezekiel's vision with modern UFO reports continues to captivate those who believe in the possibility of extraterrestrial life and ancient alien contact. Skeptics argue that Ezekiel's vision is symbolic or a metaphorical account, and that the imagery can be understood in the context of ancient religious visions or prophetic experiences. They point out that similar descriptions of flying chariots, wheels, and celestial beings can be found in other ancient cultures and religious traditions, suggesting that these kinds of visions may have been a common motif in the ancient world rather than evidence of actual extraterrestrial encounters. Despite the debate, the idea that the visions of Ezekiel and other biblical texts could be referring to extraterrestrial beings continues to be a popular topic in alternative history and ufology. Whether seen as a literal account of alien contact or as a symbolic religious experience, Ezekiel's vision remains one of the most compelling and enigmatic stories in the Bible, and it provides an intriguing example of how ancient texts might be reinterpreted through the lens of modern ideas about extraterrestrial life. The possibility that ancient cultures had advanced knowledge of astronomy and celestial events, potentially with extraterrestrial assistance, is a key aspect of the Ancient Astronaut Theory. Many ancient civilizations, despite lacking modern telescopes or advanced scientific tools, demonstrated a remarkable understanding of the stars, planets, and other celestial phenomena. Some proponents of the theory argue that this knowledge may have come from extraterrestrial visitors who imparted it to humanity, enabling these cultures to create precise calendars, track celestial movements, and build structures aligned with the stars. This idea is often discussed in relation to ancient sites such as Stonehenge, the pyramids of Egypt, and the Mayan observatories, all of which suggest an advanced level of astronomical understanding. One of the most compelling examples cited by ancient astronaut theorists is the alignment of many ancient structures with celestial bodies. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for instance, is aligned almost perfectly with the cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west, a feat that would have required precise knowledge of the Earth's movements and the position of the stars. This alignment, coupled with the pyramid's relationship to the stars in the constellation of Orion, leads some researchers to speculate that the Egyptians were guided by advanced astronomical knowledge, possibly provided by extraterrestrial beings. The ancient Egyptians also constructed elaborate star charts and had a deep understanding of the night sky, which they used to track time and predict the annual flooding of the Nile River. The Mayans, too, are known for their sophisticated knowledge of astronomy, exemplified by their creation of the Mayan calendar, which accurately predicted celestial events such as eclipses and the cycles of Venus. Some theorists suggest that such advanced astronomical knowledge could have been passed down from extraterrestrials, who may have visited Earth and shared their understanding of the cosmos. In addition to the alignment of structures, there are many ancient myths and legends that describe gods or celestial beings coming down from the heavens, often associated with the stars or planets. These stories are sometimes interpreted as evidence that extraterrestrial visitors were actively involved in the cultural and technological development of ancient civilizations. For example, the ancient Sumerians spoke of the Anunnaki, a group of gods who were believed to have descended from the sky to teach humanity various skills, including agriculture, writing, and metallurgy. These deities were often associated with celestial bodies, such as the planet Nibiru, which some theorists claim is an alien homeworld. Similarly, in Hindu mythology, gods like Vishnu and Indra are depicted as descending from the heavens in flying chariots, which some believe could be ancient depictions of UFOs. The idea of extraterrestrial influence on ancient astronomy is also explored in relation to the myth of the star people, found in many indigenous cultures around the world. In Native American traditions, for example, the Hopi and Zuni peoples have long told stories of beings from the stars who came to Earth in ancient times and taught them how to live in harmony with nature and the cosmos. Similar myths appear in other cultures, including the Dogon people of Mali, who are said to have had knowledge of the star system Sirius long before it was discovered by modern astronomers. According to the Dogon, their ancestors were visited by beings from the Sirius star system who imparted advanced knowledge to them. Some ancient astronaut theorists argue that these shared stories of sky gods, or star people, may be evidence of extraterrestrial contact with early humans. Despite these fascinating connections, mainstream scholars generally attribute the advanced astronomical knowledge of ancient cultures to human ingenuity in observation rather than extraterrestrial influence. They argue that ancient civilizations, through careful observation of the night sky and the passage of time, were able to develop sophisticated systems for tracking celestial events, even without the advanced technology available to us today. These cultures were keenly aware of the patterns of the stars, the phases of the moon, and the movement of planets, and they used this knowledge to create calendars, plan agricultural cycles, and align their buildings and monuments with celestial events. Nonetheless, the idea that extraterrestrials may have played a role in ancient astronomy remains an enduring and captivating element of the ancient astronaut theory. Whether as a direct influence or through the transfer of knowledge, the idea that beings from other worlds shared their cosmic understanding with early humans adds a fascinating layer to our interpretation of ancient civilizations and their achievements. The precision with which these cultures observed the heavens continues to intrigue and inspire those who believe that humanity's understanding of the stars may have been shaped by beings beyond our world. The connection between ancient myths and the idea of extraterrestrial influence is a significant part of the ancient astronaut theory. Throughout human history, myths and legends from different cultures across the world describe encounters with gods, celestial beings, or sky visitors, who descended from the heavens to interact with humanity. These beings, often described as having advanced technology or divine powers, are sometimes interpreted by proponents of the ancient astronaut theory as extraterrestrial beings who made contact with early humans. The parallels between these myths and modern UFO sightings, as well as the technological advancements attributed to these figures, are central to the argument that ancient people may have had encounters with alien visitors who shaped their societies and cultures. One of the most commonly referenced examples in this theory is the Sumerian mythology of the Anunnaki, a group of deities who were believed to have descended from the heavens to teach humanity various essential skills, including agriculture, writing, and metallurgy. According to some interpretations of Sumerian texts, the Anunnaki were not gods in the traditional sense, but extraterrestrial beings who arrived on Earth from another planet or star system, possibly even from the distant planet Nibiru. These gods are said to have created or influenced the development of human civilization, guiding the Sumerians in building complex societies. Ancient astronaut theorists argue that the Anunnaki's advanced knowledge and technology may have been the result of their extraterrestrial origins, suggesting that these beings were the source of the technological leaps that early human societies made. In addition to the Anunnaki, there are other myths that feature gods or supernatural beings coming from the sky in flying vehicles. The Hindu texts, particularly the Vedas and the Mahabharata, contain descriptions of flying chariots known as vimanas. These chariots, often depicted as being capable of flying through the air and sometimes even traveling through space, are seen by some as evidence of ancient knowledge of advanced technology. The vimanas are described in intricate detail, with descriptions of weapons and mechanisms that sound strikingly similar to modern concepts of spacecraft and aircraft. Proponents of the ancient astronaut theory argue that these texts may not be allegorical but instead recount actual encounters with alien beings who had advanced technology that appeared as divine or magical to the people of the time. Similar themes of divine beings descending from the sky are found in cultures around the world. The Native American Hopi tribe, for example, has legends of star people who came to Earth from the stars to guide humanity. The Hopi believe that these beings imparted knowledge about agriculture, spiritual practices, and the natural world. Likewise, the Zuni and other southwestern Native American tribes have similar stories about star visitors who descended from the sky. These stories often describe beings with otherworldly knowledge and advanced technologies, suggesting that these encounters were seen as pivotal moments in human history. The Dogon people of Mali, in West Africa, have a particularly fascinating story tied to their knowledge of the star system Sirius. According to Dogon oral tradition, their ancestors were visited by beings called the Namo, who came from the Sirius star system. The Dogon are known for their incredibly precise knowledge of Sirius, particularly the existence of a second, invisible companion star, Sirius B, which was not discovered by modern astronomers until the 20th century. Some theorists argue that this knowledge could only have been obtained through contact with extraterrestrials, as the Dogon would not have had the means to observe such distant stars with the naked eye or without advanced telescopic technology. In many of these ancient myths, the beings or gods are depicted as possessing knowledge and technology far beyond what was available to the humans they interacted with. The advanced nature of these figures often leads to the speculation that they could have been extraterrestrial visitors who were mistakenly revered as gods due to their advanced technology. The idea that humans could have misinterpreted encounters with alien visitors as divine or supernatural events is a central tenet of the ancient astronaut theory. In these interpretations, gods and deities are seen not as spiritual beings but as highly advanced extraterrestrial entities who shared their knowledge with early humans, helping them to build complex societies, develop agriculture, and understand the mysteries of the natural world. While mainstream scholars and historians generally view these myths as symbolic, religious, or allegorical, ancient astronaut theorists argue that these stories are rooted in actual historical events, encounters between humans and extraterrestrials. The widespread nature of these myths, found in diverse cultures across the globe, adds weight to the theory that early humans had contact with beings from beyond Earth. Whether interpreted as divine intervention or extraterrestrial visitation, these ancient myths provide an intriguing lens through which to explore the possibility of alien influence on the development of human civilization. The idea that ancient civilizations may have received advanced technological knowledge or influence from extraterrestrial beings is often explored through the lens of their impressive architectural achievements, particularly in the construction of monumental structures such as the pyramids of Egypt, the megalithic stone circles of Stonehenge, and the massive stone structures of ancient Peru, like those found at Sacsayhuaman. These sites are sometimes cited by ancient astronaut theorists as evidence of extraterrestrial intervention due to their complexity, precision, and scale, which, according to some, seem to surpass the capabilities of the civilizations that built them. The central question posed by proponents of this theory is how these ancient cultures could have achieved such feats without the advanced tools, engineering knowledge, or technologies we associate with modern construction. The pyramids of Giza in Egypt are one of the most famous examples of ancient architecture that continue to fuel speculation about extraterrestrial influence. The Great Pyramid, built around 4,500 years ago during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, is an extraordinary feat of engineering, particularly considering the limited technological resources of the time. The sheer size and precision of the pyramid, with its perfectly aligned sides and the massive weight of the stone blocks, some weighing as much as 80 tons, have led some researchers to question how ancient Egyptians could have transported and positioned these stones using only primitive tools. While Egyptologists generally argue that the Egyptians used ramps, levers, and a highly organized workforce to build the pyramid, ancient astronaut theorists suggest that the advanced techniques and tools required for such a monumental task may have been beyond the capacity of the ancient Egyptians. They propose that the Egyptians could have been assisted by extraterrestrial beings who provided them with the knowledge or technology to construct such an impressive structure. Similarly, the megalithic stone structures found at Stonehenge, located in southern England, are often cited as another example of ancient architecture that might have involved extraterrestrial knowledge. The site consists of large stones arranged in a circular formation, with some stones weighing as much as 40 tons. The transportation and precise placement of these stones, especially when considering the time period in which Stonehenge was built, around 3000 BCE, has puzzled archaeologists for centuries. While it is generally accepted that the builders of Stonehenge used a combination of human labor, sledges, and wooden rollers to move the stones, the exact methods remain unclear. Theories that suggest extraterrestrial assistance arise from the belief that such advanced knowledge of construction and engineering may have been beyond the capabilities of Bronze Age humans. Some theorists propose that the builders could have received help from beings with advanced technology who taught them how to move such massive stones and create such an astronomically aligned site. The ancient site of Sacsayhuaman in Peru, located near the city of Cusco, presents another example of megalithic construction that has inspired speculation about extraterrestrial influence. The site is famous for its massive stone walls, where the stones fit together so perfectly that it is almost impossible to insert even a piece of paper between them. Some of these stones weigh several tons, and the precision with which they are cut and arranged has led some to question how the Inca civilization, which is generally believed to have built the site using rudimentary tools, could have achieved such a high degree of accuracy. Ancient astronaut theorists argue that the Inca may have been aided by extraterrestrial visitors who possessed the technology to cut and manipulate these stones with such precision. The theory is also fueled by the fact that many ancient civilizations, including the Incas, had myths and legends about sky gods, or beings who came from the heavens, potentially suggesting that their advanced construction techniques could have been influenced by extraterrestrial contact. Another intriguing example comes from the ancient city of Teotihuacan in Mexico, known for its massive pyramids and grid-like urban planning. The Pyramid of the Sun, in particular, has long fascinated researchers due to its size and the apparent precision with which it was built. Some theorists suggest that the alignment of the pyramids with astronomical events, such as the solstices, could indicate an advanced knowledge of astronomy, possibly provided by extraterrestrials. The city's layout and the complexity of its architecture are sometimes viewed as too advanced for the time, leading to speculation that it was either influenced by extraterrestrial beings or even constructed with their assistance. While mainstream scholars attribute the architectural achievements of ancient civilizations to human ingenuity, organizational skills, and the development of sophisticated tools over time, the idea that extraterrestrial influence played a role in these monumental constructions persists among those who support the ancient astronaut theory. They argue that the level of precision, the sheer size of the structures, and the advanced engineering involved in their construction point to the possibility of outside influence, whether in the form of extraterrestrial guidance or the transfer of advanced knowledge. This theory challenges our understanding of the capabilities of ancient civilizations and continues to spark debate about the role of extraterrestrial beings in shaping human history. The idea that ancient texts, including religious scriptures and epics, could contain references to extraterrestrial beings is a crucial component of the ancient astronaut theory. Advocates of this theory believe that many of the gods and supernatural figures described in ancient myths and religious texts were not divine beings but rather extraterrestrial visitors who interacted with early human societies. These visitors, often described in ways that suggest advanced technology and otherworldly abilities, are thought to have been mistaken for gods by ancient peoples who lacked the knowledge to understand the true nature of these beings. The interpretation of gods and deities as aliens offers an alternative explanation for many ancient religious experiences, suggesting that what people perceived as divine encounters may have been actual contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. One of the most widely discussed examples in the context of the ancient astronaut theory is the Book of Ezekiel in the Hebrew Bible. The prophet Ezekiel's vision of a chariot descending from the sky has long been interpreted as a dramatic encounter with a UFO. In Ezekiel's account, he describes seeing a whirlwind, a great cloud with fire, and a wheel within a wheel that moved in multiple directions without turning. Accompanied by 4 living creatures, Ezekiel's vision presents imagery that closely resembles modern reports of UFOs and alien encounters. Ancient astronaut theorists suggest that the chariot described in Ezekiel's vision is a depiction of a spacecraft, and the living creatures may be extraterrestrial beings or beings connected to an alien race. The wheels that Ezekiel describes have been likened to advanced propulsion systems or rotating craft components, supporting the idea that the prophet's vision was not a divine encounter, but rather an extraterrestrial visitation. Beyond the Bible, there are many other ancient texts and myths that describe gods or other celestial beings coming from the sky. In the Hindu epics, such as the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, gods like Vishnu and Indra are often described as descending from the heavens in flying chariots, called vimanas. These flying machines are said to have the ability to traverse vast distances and even travel between worlds, resembling spacecraft more than the traditional image of divine chariots. The detailed descriptions of the vimanas, including their construction, capabilities, and weapons, bear striking similarities to modern depictions of UFOs, leading some theorists to suggest that these texts could be recounting actual extraterrestrial encounters. The advanced nature of these machines, combined with their appearance in ancient religious texts, is used to support the claim that extraterrestrials may have visited Earth and been perceived as gods by the people of the time. In Sumerian mythology, the Anunnaki, deities often associated with the sky and heavens, are frequently cited by ancient astronaut theorists as evidence of extraterrestrial influence. The Anunnaki were said to have come from the sky to teach humanity knowledge such as agriculture, writing, and metallurgy, significantly advancing early human civilization. The Sumerians described these beings as having immense power and knowledge, and their technological capabilities appeared to be far beyond those of the Sumerians. Some theories suggest that the Anunnaki could have been visitors from another planet, possibly Nibiru, a hypothesized planet in the solar system. The Anunnaki's role in shaping early human culture and technology is often interpreted as evidence of extraterrestrial influence, with proponents of the ancient astronaut theory suggesting that these beings shared their advanced knowledge with humans, facilitating the rise of early civilizations like Sumer. In the Americas, particularly in Mesoamerican cultures like the Mayans and the Aztecs, there are also myths of gods who descended from the sky and interacted with humanity. The Mayan god Kukulkan, for example, was often depicted as a serpent with feathers, and he was associated with both the heavens and the earth. In some versions of the Mayan creation myth, Kukulkan is said to have brought advanced knowledge to humanity. Similar myths can be found in the traditions of the Aztecs, where the feathered serpent god Quetzalcoatl is said to have come from the sky to teach the people important skills such as agriculture, metallurgy, and astronomy. Ancient astronaut theorists argue that these figures may not have been gods in the traditional sense, but rather extraterrestrial beings who shared their advanced knowledge with these ancient cultures. In addition to these myths, other cultures around the world, from the Aboriginal people of Australia to the ancient Egyptians, have stories about beings descending from the heavens and imparting knowledge to humanity. The common thread in many of these myths is the idea that these beings were technologically advanced and may have had the ability to travel between worlds, or at least to come from the sky. These widespread accounts are often seen as potential evidence of extraterrestrial visitations, with proponents of the ancient astronaut theory suggesting that the similarities between these stories across different cultures point to a shared experience of contact with extraterrestrial visitors. While mainstream historians and scholars typically interpret these myths as symbolic, religious, or allegorical, ancient astronaut theorists argue that the consistent themes of divine visitors from the sky reflect actual encounters with extraterrestrial beings. The advanced technology and knowledge attributed to these gods in ancient texts and myths are often seen as evidence of alien intervention, with extraterrestrial beings using their advanced technology to shape the course of human history. Whether interpreted as gods, angels, or extraterrestrials, the beings described in these ancient texts continue to captivate the imagination, offering an alternative perspective on humanity's early encounters with the unknown. The notion that ancient civilizations were able to achieve feats of engineering and construction far beyond their apparent technological capabilities has led some proponents of the ancient astronaut theory to speculate that extraterrestrial visitors may have played a role in shaping these societies' technological and cultural advancements. In this context, one of the most widely discussed aspects of the theory is the idea that extraterrestrials may have helped humanity develop the technologies that were used in the construction of monumental structures, particularly those whose complexity and precision seem to surpass what would have been possible with the tools available to ancient peoples. The argument is often framed around the fact that many of these structures, such as the Great Pyramids of Giza, the megalithic stone circles of Stonehenge, and the advanced engineering of ancient cities like Teotihuacan, seem to require a level of technological sophistication that many believe could not have been achieved by the civilizations of the time using only the methods and resources that are historically attributed to them. One of the most famous examples cited by ancient astronaut theorists is the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt. This pyramid, constructed around 2500 BCE, is made up of approximately 2.3 million limestone and granite blocks, some weighing up to 80 tons. The precision with which the stones are cut and fit together has led many to wonder how such an extraordinary feat could have been achieved with the primitive tools that the ancient Egyptians were believed to have at their disposal. While Egyptologists believe the pyramids were built using ramps, levers, and a large workforce, proponents of the ancient astronaut theory argue that the sheer scale, precision, and complexity of the pyramid's construction suggests that the Egyptians may have had assistance from extraterrestrials, who could have provided advanced tools, engineering knowledge, or even levitation technology to move and position the massive stones. Some theorists also point out that the pyramid is astronomically aligned with remarkable precision, suggesting that the builders may have had access to advanced astronomical knowledge, potentially provided by extraterrestrial visitors. Similarly, the megalithic stone structures found at Stonehenge in England have sparked debate about how such an intricate and large-scale site could have been built using the technology available at the time. Stonehenge consists of massive stones, some weighing up to 40 tons, arranged in a circular formation with precise astronomical alignments. The construction of Stonehenge, believed to have occurred around 3000 BCE, has puzzled archaeologists, as it would have required significant manpower and advanced knowledge of engineering and astronomy. While mainstream historians suggest that the builders of Stonehenge used a combination of simple tools and techniques, such as sledges and wooden rollers, ancient astronaut theorists propose that the precision of the construction and its alignment with celestial bodies may indicate extraterrestrial involvement. They argue that the builders of Stonehenge could have been assisted by advanced beings who provided them with the knowledge or technology to transport and position the massive stones. In South America, the ancient site of Sacsayhuaman in Peru is often cited as another example of sophisticated construction that could have involved extraterrestrial knowledge. The site, which is believed to have been constructed by the Inca civilization, features enormous stones that fit together with such precision that it is nearly impossible to insert even a piece of paper between them. The largest stones at Sacsayhuaman weigh several tons, and the site's layout and engineering are remarkably advanced for its time. Despite the Incas' relatively primitive tools, the precision with which the stones were cut and placed has led some to speculate that extraterrestrial beings could have played a role in the construction of the site, either by directly providing advanced technology or by offering the Inca the knowledge needed to achieve such precision. The Inca themselves had legends of sky gods who descended from the heavens and taught them advanced technologies, which ancient astronaut theorists interpret as possible references to extraterrestrial visitors. In addition to these examples, the ancient city of Teotihuacan in Mexico, with its massive pyramids and grid-like urban planning, also figures prominently in the discussion of extraterrestrial involvement. The Pyramid of the Sun, in particular, is a remarkable architectural achievement, and the site's alignment with celestial events, such as the solstices, suggests an advanced understanding of astronomy. The construction of Teotihuacan, which is believed to have occurred around 200 BCE to 500 CE, is thought to have been carried out by a highly organized and skilled society. Some ancient astronaut theorists argue that the advanced construction techniques and alignment of the pyramids with astronomical phenomena could indicate the influence of extraterrestrial beings who shared their knowledge of engineering and the cosmos with the people of Teotihuacan. The idea that extraterrestrials helped humanity develop the technology to build these monumental structures is not limited to ancient civilizations with known records of advanced architecture. Ancient astronaut theorists also point to the global distribution of similar megalithic sites and complex structures, from the Egyptian pyramids to the stonework of Machu Picchu and the Great Wall of China, as evidence that early civilizations across the world may have received similar assistance from extraterrestrial visitors. The similarities in the construction of these sites, despite the vast distances between them and the different cultures that built them, are seen by some as indicative of a shared source of knowledge or technology, possibly extraterrestrial in origin. While mainstream archaeology and history typically attribute these architectural achievements to human ingenuity, resourcefulness, and the gradual development of advanced techniques over time, the idea that extraterrestrial beings may have played a role in these accomplishments continues to be a central theme of the ancient astronaut theory. This theory challenges our understanding of ancient cultures and their capabilities, suggesting that humanity's early technological advances may have been the result of contact with beings from beyond our world. Whether as direct helpers or as sources of inspiration, the idea that extraterrestrials influenced the construction of monumental structures adds an intriguing layer to the mystery of ancient civilizations and their extraordinary achievements. One of the most compelling aspects of the ancient astronaut theory is the interpretation of ancient artwork and artifacts, which some theorists believe depict extraterrestrial beings, spacecraft, and advanced technology. These artifacts are often seen as evidence of early encounters with beings from other worlds, with the intricate and sometimes perplexing depictions of gods, creatures, and celestial phenomena being interpreted as references to alien visitors. The theory posits that ancient artists, limited by their understanding of the world, may have portrayed extraterrestrials and their technology in ways that were comprehensible to the people of the time, but that may now appear strange or fantastical to modern viewers. One of the most commonly cited examples of extraterrestrial depictions in ancient art comes from the cave paintings and petroglyphs found around the world. These ancient artworks, many of which date back tens of thousands of years, often show figures with large, round eyes, elongated heads, or other features that resemble modern descriptions of aliens. The cave paintings of Tassili Eniger in Algeria, for example, depict humanoid figures with large, oval-shaped heads, and some of these figures are shown wearing helmets or suits that resemble spacesuits. Ancient astronaut theorists suggest that these images represent early encounters with extraterrestrial beings, and that the people who created them may have been attempting to capture their interactions with beings who appeared different from themselves, potentially because of their advanced technology or alien appearance. Another example often cited is the famous astronaut depictions in the Nazca lines of Peru. The Nazca lines are a series of large geoglyphs etched into the desert floor, many of which depict animals, geometric shapes, and human figures. One particularly intriguing image is that of a figure with an elongated head, a large helmet, and a body that appears to be suited or armored, often interpreted as an ancient astronaut. Some theorists argue that these lines were not only meant as religious or ritualistic symbols but that they could have been created to communicate with extraterrestrial visitors, possibly even designed to be seen from the sky. The massive scale and complexity of the Nazca lines, which can only be fully appreciated from the air, lead some to believe that they may have been created with the help of extraterrestrials, or that they represent some form of contact or message intended for beings who could view them from above. Ancient artwork in other cultures, including the Sumerians, Egyptians, and Mayans, also contains imagery that has been interpreted as references to extraterrestrial beings or advanced technology. In Sumerian art, for example, there are depictions of gods and heroes who often appear in elaborate, helmet-like headgear, which some theorists believe could be a depiction of extraterrestrial helmets or spacesuits. In Egyptian art, the depiction of gods such as Ra and Osiris, who were often shown with elaborate headdresses and glowing discs around their heads, has been interpreted by ancient astronaut theorists as a possible representation of beings with advanced technology, possibly even aliens. The famous Egyptian disk of the sun is sometimes described as a UFO-like object, with rays emanating from it, further supporting the idea that the ancient Egyptians may have been depicting extraterrestrial beings in their artwork. The Mayans also produced artwork and carvings that some theorists believe could be depictions of extraterrestrials. The intricate Mayan stele and carvings often depict gods or rulers with distinctive, elaborate headgear, which some claim resemble space helmets. The Mayan creation myth, which involves the gods descending from the sky, is another focal point for those who support the ancient astronaut theory, suggesting that these gods could have been extraterrestrial beings. Some carvings, such as those found at the Mayan site of Copan, show figures with helmets and other features that seem to suggest an otherworldly appearance. The Mayans were also known for their advanced knowledge of astronomy, and the precision of their calendar system has led some to believe that their understanding of the cosmos may have been influenced by extraterrestrial beings. In addition to these examples, many ancient cultures have legends or artistic depictions of gods or beings from the sky who are said to have imparted advanced knowledge to humanity. The sky gods, found in many mythologies across the world, from the Sumerians to the Aztecs, are sometimes seen as representations of extraterrestrial visitors who brought knowledge of agriculture, technology, or other advancements to early human societies. The idea that these gods could have been extraterrestrials who visited Earth in the distant past is a central theme in the ancient astronaut theory, with proponents arguing that the artistic representations of these beings and their technology may be one of the clearest pieces of evidence for extraterrestrial contact. Mainstream archaeologists and historians, however, typically interpret these ancient artworks and depictions as symbolic representations of deities, spirits, or other cultural figures, and argue that they should be understood within the context of the beliefs and practices of the time. Nevertheless, the continued fascination with these ancient artworks and the questions they raise about the nature of early human encounters with the unknown make them a key part of the ancient astronaut theory. Whether seen as depictions of gods, extraterrestrials, or both, the intricate and often mysterious artwork from ancient civilizations continues to fuel speculation about the possibility that early humans may have had contact with beings from other worlds, who may have influenced their understanding of the universe and their place within it. The idea that advanced extraterrestrial civilizations may have shared their knowledge and technology with ancient humans is one of the core tenets of the ancient astronaut theory. According to this theory, extraterrestrials did not merely visit Earth but actively influenced the development of early human civilization by providing advanced technological and scientific knowledge that enabled ancient cultures to achieve remarkable feats. This exchange of knowledge is believed to have played a significant role in the rapid advancement of human societies, allowing them to develop sophisticated technologies, architectural achievements, and cultural practices that would otherwise have been beyond their capabilities. From the construction of monumental structures to the development of early scientific knowledge, the theory suggests that extraterrestrials were integral in shaping humanity's early achievements. One of the most frequently cited examples of extraterrestrial knowledge transfer involves the development of agriculture. The transition from a hunter-gatherer society to settled farming communities is one of the most significant milestones in human history, and the ancient astronaut theory posits that extraterrestrials may have played a role in this transition. The theory suggests that advanced beings from other worlds could have shared agricultural knowledge with ancient humans, such as how to cultivate crops, domesticate animals, and manage irrigation systems. This would explain how some ancient civilizations were able to develop complex agricultural systems with a level of precision and understanding that seemed to appear suddenly, without a gradual evolution from previous practices. Ancient astronaut theorists often point to the sudden flourishing of agriculture in regions such as Mesopotamia and the Nile Valley as evidence of extraterrestrial influence, arguing that the knowledge needed to create large-scale agricultural systems may have been imparted by extraterrestrials. In addition to agriculture, the development of writing and mathematics is often cited as another example of advanced knowledge being shared with early human civilizations. The invention of written language allowed humans to record and transmit information across generations, leading to the rise of complex societies and the ability to create and preserve historical records. Ancient astronaut theorists suggest that writing systems, such as cuneiform in Sumer and hieroglyphics in Egypt, may have been inspired or directly taught to early humans by extraterrestrial beings. Similarly, the development of early mathematical concepts, such as the advanced number systems used by the Babylonians and Egyptians, is often seen as evidence of extraterrestrial influence. The precision and sophistication of these systems, particularly in their ability to calculate astronomical events and manage large-scale projects, is sometimes viewed as beyond the capabilities of ancient humans and as potentially the result of extraterrestrial assistance. The construction of monumental structures, such as the Egyptian pyramids, the Mayan pyramids, and the megalithic structures of Stonehenge and Machu Picchu, is another area where the transfer of knowledge from extraterrestrials is frequently suggested. Many ancient astronaut theorists argue that the construction of these massive, precise, and intricate structures could not have been achieved using only the tools and methods available to the ancient peoples who built them. The sheer scale and complexity of these projects, along with their alignment with celestial events such as solstices and equinoxes, suggest that the knowledge required to design and build them could have been shared by extraterrestrial beings with advanced technological capabilities. For example, the precise cutting and fitting of the enormous stones used in the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza is often cited as evidence of advanced building techniques that could have been provided by extraterrestrials, who may have introduced the necessary tools and construction methods. The sharing of astronomical knowledge is another key aspect of the theory. Many ancient cultures, including the Babylonians, Mayans, Egyptians, and Sumerians, demonstrated an impressive understanding of the stars, planets, and other celestial bodies. Their ability to predict astronomical events such as eclipses, solstices, and the movement of planets with great accuracy is often cited by proponents of the ancient astronaut theory as evidence that extraterrestrials may have provided this knowledge. Some theorists suggest that advanced alien civilizations could have taught ancient cultures how to read the stars and understand the cosmos, thus helping them develop early forms of astronomy and astrology. The Mayan calendar, in particular, is often highlighted as a remarkable achievement in this regard, with its intricate calculations of time cycles and celestial events being seen as too advanced for the Mayans to have developed on their own. In addition to the practical knowledge of agriculture, writing, mathematics, and astronomy, some proponents of the ancient astronaut theory believe that extraterrestrial visitors may have also shared more esoteric or spiritual knowledge with ancient humans. This could include knowledge of advanced energy systems, healing techniques, or even philosophical concepts. For example, some theorists point to the concept of the sacred geometry, found in many ancient cultures, which is based on mathematical principles and proportions that appear to have a mystical or spiritual significance. Sacred geometry can be seen in the design of sacred spaces, such as temples and pyramids, as well as in the alignment of structures with celestial bodies. Ancient astronaut theorists suggest that this knowledge of sacred geometry could have been passed down from extraterrestrial beings who possessed advanced understanding of the universe and its underlying structures. Similarly, some proponents of the theory argue that ancient religious and spiritual practices, including the worship of gods who descended from the sky or who were associated with celestial bodies, may have been influenced by extraterrestrial visitors. The idea is that these visitors, with their advanced technology and knowledge, may have been seen as gods by early humans, who then incorporated their teachings and practices into their religious systems. In this way, the spiritual and technological aspects of ancient cultures are seen as intertwined, with extraterrestrials playing a key role in both the intellectual and religious development of humanity. While mainstream historians and archaeologists often reject the idea of extraterrestrial influence on early human civilization, citing the gradual development of human knowledge and culture through trial, error, and innovation, the Ancient Astronaut Theory offers an alternative perspective. This theory suggests that extraterrestrial beings may have played a direct and significant role in the advancement of human civilization, helping early humans develop technologies and knowledge that would otherwise have been beyond their capabilities. Whether in the form of advanced building techniques, agricultural practices, or astronomical knowledge, the theory proposes that these visitors helped humanity unlock its potential, setting the stage for the rise of complex civilizations that would later shape the course of human history. The concept of ancient myths and legends about gods descending from the heavens has long been a focal point for proponents of the Ancient Astronaut Theory. Many ancient cultures have stories of gods, angels, or divine beings who are said to have come from the sky, often bringing with them advanced knowledge, technology, or even physical attributes that appear to align with what we might describe as extraterrestrial characteristics. These myths, found across a wide variety of cultures, are often interpreted by ancient astronaut theorists as evidence of early encounters with extraterrestrial beings, who were misinterpreted as gods by the people of those times. The widespread occurrence of similar sky god myths across different civilizations, despite their geographical separation, raises intriguing questions about whether these stories could be based on actual encounters with extraterrestrials or if they represent a collective human experience of unknown, otherworldly visitors. In many ancient mythologies, gods are depicted as coming from the sky or outer space, sometimes in chariots, fiery vessels, or flying craft. One well-known example of this can be found in the Sumerian texts, where gods known as the Anunnaki are said to have come from the heavens to visit Earth. According to the Sumerian creation myth, these beings descended from the sky and interacted with humans, teaching them various advanced skills, such as agriculture, writing, and metallurgy. The Anunnaki are often depicted in ancient texts as powerful figures with divine attributes, but some ancient astronaut theorists argue that their descriptions could actually be references to extraterrestrial visitors, whose advanced technology and appearance would have been perceived as divine by the people of the time. The idea that these gods were not deities in the traditional sense but rather extraterrestrials who visited Earth and influenced early human civilization is a central theme in the ancient astronaut theory. Similarly, in ancient Hindu texts, there are numerous references to devas, gods, who come from the sky in flying chariots known as vimanas. These vimanas are often described in great detail in ancient Hindu scriptures, such as the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, and they are said to be capable of flying through the air, emitting dazzling lights, and even traveling to other worlds. The detailed descriptions of these flying chariots and their advanced technology have led some ancient astronaut theorists to suggest that the vimanas could be a representation of extraterrestrial spacecraft. The idea that the ancient Hindus were describing actual encounters with extraterrestrial beings, rather than mythological deities, is supported by the theory that the advanced technology attributed to the gods may have been misunderstood as divine power. In the Bible, there are also numerous references to beings descending from the heavens. One of the most notable examples is the story of the Nephilim, which appears in the book of Genesis. The Nephilim are described as the offspring of the sons of God, often interpreted as divine beings, and the daughters of men. In some interpretations, the sons of God are seen as extraterrestrial beings who descended to Earth and intermingled with humans, producing a race of giants or powerful beings. The mention of these sons of God coming from the heavens has been used by ancient astronaut theorists as further evidence that ancient cultures were describing encounters with extraterrestrials, who were seen as divine due to their advanced technology and abilities. In the ancient Greek tradition, the gods of Mount Olympus are often depicted as having come from the heavens and possessing powers that set them apart from ordinary humans. Some scholars and theorists have interpreted these gods as being extraterrestrial beings who interacted with humanity, guiding and instructing them in various ways. The Greek god Hermes, for example, is often depicted as a messenger who travels between the heavens and earth, much like an extraterrestrial envoy. His winged sandals and the ability to move between worlds have been interpreted as possible symbols of advanced technology, suggesting that he may have been an alien being interacting with ancient humans in ways that were beyond their understanding. The story of the ancient gods descending from the sky is not limited to these few examples but can be found in numerous other cultures, from the Aztecs and Mayans to the Native American tribes and African traditions. The Aztecs, for instance, believed in a group of gods known as the Quetzalcoatl and the Tezcatlipoca, who were said to have come from the heavens and interacted with humans. Similarly, the Mayans believed that their gods descended from the sky, and some of their artwork depicts figures with helmets or other features that resemble modern depictions of extraterrestrial beings. In Africa, the Dogon people of Mali have long held a belief in beings from the star system Sirius who visited their ancestors and shared knowledge of the stars, an idea that has intrigued researchers and ancient astronaut theorists alike. These stories, which are found in diverse cultures across the globe, are seen by some as evidence of a shared human experience with extraterrestrial visitors, perhaps even pointing to actual events in the distant past when extraterrestrial beings may have visited Earth and been worshipped as gods. Ancient astronaut theorists argue that the similarities in these sky god myths, despite the vast geographical and cultural differences between the civilizations, suggest that the stories may be based on real, historical encounters with extraterrestrial beings. The theory proposes that the gods of ancient mythologies were, in fact, visitors from other planets or star systems, whose advanced technology, ability to travel through the sky, and otherworldly appearance were misinterpreted as divine power. The widespread nature of these myths, along with their consistent themes of gods descending from the heavens and imparting knowledge to humanity, is seen by proponents of the theory as strong evidence that extraterrestrial beings played a pivotal role in the development of human civilization. Critics of the ancient astronaut theory, however, argue that these myths should be understood within their cultural and religious contexts, as symbolic representations of human fears, hopes, and experiences rather than as literal accounts of extraterrestrial visits. They suggest that the common themes of gods descending from the heavens could reflect the universal human desire for divine intervention or the belief in higher powers that guide and protect humanity. Nevertheless, the interpretation of these myths as possible records of ancient extraterrestrial encounters remains a key element of the ancient astronaut theory, offering a fascinating lens through which to view ancient cultures and their understanding of the cosmos. One of the central claims of the ancient astronaut theory is the idea that advanced extraterrestrials may have influenced human genetic development. According to this hypothesis, extraterrestrial beings visited Earth in ancient times and either directly or indirectly intervened in human evolution, either by manipulating the genetic material of early hominids or by contributing to the development of key traits that distinguish humans from other primates. This theory suggests that the rapid and seemingly inexplicable emergence of modern humans, with their advanced cognitive abilities, complex social structures, and technological innovations, could be the result of extraterrestrial intervention rather than the product of natural evolutionary processes alone. The concept of extraterrestrial influence on human genetics is often rooted in the idea that early humans were not entirely capable of developing the level of intelligence, creativity, and problem-solving ability that defines modern humans. Some proponents of the theory argue that this intellectual leap could have been facilitated by alien visitors who either directly altered the genetic makeup of early humans or provided the necessary knowledge and tools for humans to achieve such an advancement. This idea is often tied to the story of the Anunnaki from ancient Sumerian texts, where the gods are described as descending from the heavens to create or modify humanity in their image. According to some versions of the myth, the Anunnaki genetically engineered early humans, making them more intelligent, capable of complex thought, and able to carry out tasks that they had not been able to perform before. One of the key pieces of evidence often cited by proponents of the ancient astronaut theory regarding human genetic manipulation is the so-called missing link in human evolution. Mainstream science posits that modern humans evolved from a common ancestor with apes over millions of years, with gradual changes in the brain, body, and social behaviors leading to the emergence of Homo sapiens. However, There is still a gap in the fossil record, where the intermediate forms between early hominids like Australopithecus and the more modern Homo habilis or Homo erectus are unclear. Some ancient astronaut theorists suggest that this gap could be the result of a sudden, unnatural leap in evolution that was brought about by extraterrestrial intervention, leading to the sudden appearance of anatomically modern humans with significantly higher cognitive abilities. The theory also draws on the idea of the God's children, or star people, found in many indigenous cultures, where humans are described as being created or descended from celestial beings. In many ancient traditions, such as those of the Sumerians, Egyptians, and Native American tribes, there are myths of gods who descended from the heavens, mated with humans, or provided divine knowledge that led to the rapid advancement of humanity. Ancient astronaut theorists argue that these stories are not merely symbolic, but rather reflect actual extraterrestrial genetic manipulation or hybridization. In some cases, these myths describe humans as having a divine or extraterrestrial ancestry, which some theorists interpret as evidence that extraterrestrials directly influenced human genetics either by breeding with early humans or by imparting advanced knowledge that spurred human development. A more specific aspect of the genetic manipulation theory involves the concept of alien hybridization. This idea suggests that extraterrestrial beings may have interbred with early humans, creating a hybrid race that possessed a combination of human and alien traits. This theory is often linked to stories of star children or indigo children, a term used to describe children who are believed to possess extraordinary abilities, advanced intelligence, or otherworldly characteristics. Some proponents of the ancient astronaut theory claim that these children are descendants of ancient human-alien hybrids, carrying the genetic legacy of extraterrestrial visitors who altered human DNA thousands of years ago. The idea of alien hybridization is sometimes supported by accounts of modern-day abduction experiences, where individuals claim to have been abducted by extraterrestrials and subjected to genetic experiments or hybridization processes. These abduction stories, while controversial, are often presented as modern-day evidence of ongoing extraterrestrial interest in humanity's genetic makeup, suggesting that the interaction between humans and aliens began in ancient times and may continue into the present. The genetic manipulation theory also ties into the idea of genetic engineering as a tool of extraterrestrial influence. Some theorists suggest that extraterrestrials could have had the technological capabilities to alter the genetic code of early hominids, either to accelerate human evolution or to create a more suitable species for their own purposes. This could have included altering specific genes to enhance cognitive abilities, increase physical endurance, or introduce other traits that would make humans more capable of achieving advanced technology or adapting to changing environmental conditions. The idea of alien genetic engineering is sometimes linked to the belief that extraterrestrials were interested in creating a species capable of performing certain tasks or carrying out specific functions, such as building large structures or acting as caretakers for a particular part of the planet. One of the challenges with this theory is the lack of direct evidence for extraterrestrial genetic manipulation. There are no fossils or genetic markers that can definitively prove that extraterrestrials played a role in human evolution. Mainstream scientists argue that human evolution, while complex and still not fully understood, can be explained through natural processes such as genetic mutation, natural selection, and genetic drift, without the need for extraterrestrial involvement. However, ancient astronaut theorists counter that the rapid emergence of human intelligence, the sudden appearance of advanced technologies, and the absence of clear evolutionary intermediaries suggest that something beyond natural selection may have been at play. Despite the lack of physical evidence, the idea that extraterrestrials may have influenced human genetics continues to be an appealing explanation for those who find gaps in the current understanding of human evolution. For ancient astronaut theorists, the presence of advanced knowledge, technology, and cultural practices in ancient civilizations, along with the genetic similarities between humans and other primates, suggests that extraterrestrials could have played a key role in humanity's development, either through direct intervention or by providing the necessary tools and knowledge to accelerate human evolution. While the theory remains speculative, it continues to capture the imagination of those who believe that humanity's origins may be more complex and intertwined with the cosmos than mainstream science suggests. The concept of ancient extraterrestrial technology, often referred to as lost or ancient advanced technology, is a central idea within the ancient astronaut theory. This theory suggests that extraterrestrial beings, in their interactions with ancient humans, may have shared highly advanced technology that was far beyond the capabilities of the civilizations at the time. Proponents of the theory believe that such technology could have influenced the development of early human societies, enabling them to achieve remarkable feats of architecture, engineering, and scientific understanding. However, over time, much of this technology was lost, either due to natural disasters, societal collapse, or the passing of knowledge through generations. Ancient astronaut theorists argue that remnants of this advanced technology, or the knowledge required to create it, may still be found in the form of ancient structures, artifacts, and cultural practices that seem to defy the technological limits of their time. One of the key aspects of this idea is the construction of monumental structures that many believe could not have been built using the tools and knowledge available to the civilizations of the time. Some of the most famous examples include the pyramids of Egypt, the stone structures of Machu Picchu, the megalithic circles of Stonehenge, and the massive stone blocks of Baalbek in Lebanon. These sites are often cited as evidence that ancient people may have had access to advanced technologies, such as high-precision tools, advanced cranes or lifting devices, or even energy sources, that were lost over time. The sheer size, complexity, and precision of these structures, particularly when considering the tools available in ancient times, lead some to believe that extraterrestrial beings may have assisted or shared their knowledge with the ancient peoples responsible for their construction. The construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza is one of the most commonly referenced examples in discussions of lost ancient technology. The pyramid, which was built around 4,500 years ago, is made of millions of limestone and granite blocks, some weighing several tons. The precision with which the blocks are cut and fitted together, as well as the alignment of the pyramid with cardinal directions and astronomical events, suggests that the builders had access to technology or knowledge that would be difficult for ancient humans to achieve without outside assistance. Some ancient astronaut theorists propose that the pyramid's construction may have involved the use of advanced tools or technologies, such as lasers or sound-based levitation devices, which were provided by extraterrestrial visitors. This theory is based on the idea that the ancient Egyptians could not have achieved such precision using only copper tools and basic building techniques available at the time. Another area where the ancient astronaut theory posits the presence of lost extraterrestrial technology is in the field of metallurgy. Many ancient civilizations, such as the Egyptians, Sumerians, and the Inca, demonstrated an advanced understanding of metals and alloys, some of which seem to have appeared suddenly, without a clear evolutionary progression from earlier technologies. The Sumerians, for example, are known to have used a metal known as electrum, a naturally occurring alloy of gold and silver, for decorative and ceremonial purposes. Similarly, the ancient Egyptians are believed to have worked with high-quality copper and bronze, producing tools, weapons, and jewelry of remarkable precision. Some theorists argue that these advancements in metallurgy could have been the result of extraterrestrial influence, with alien visitors providing the knowledge and technology to work with metals in ways that would have been beyond the capabilities of the ancient world. In addition to metallurgy, the ancient astronaut theory also points to the advanced astronomical knowledge possessed by ancient civilizations as evidence of extraterrestrial influence. Many ancient cultures, including the Babylonians, Mayans, and Egyptians, had a sophisticated understanding of celestial bodies, planetary movements, and the stars, which enabled them to create detailed calendars, predict eclipses, and align structures with astronomical events. This advanced knowledge of the cosmos is often cited as an indication that these civilizations may have received guidance from extraterrestrial beings, who imparted their understanding of the universe. The Mayan calendar, for example, is incredibly precise, with the ability to predict solar and lunar eclipses with remarkable accuracy, far beyond what would have been possible with the tools available to the ancient Mayans. Some theorists suggest that the Mayans may have received this astronomical knowledge from extraterrestrial visitors, who shared their understanding of the cosmos. One of the most intriguing pieces of evidence often cited in discussions of ancient extraterrestrial technology is the existence of ancient artifacts that appear to be far too advanced for their time. Some of the most famous examples include the Antikythera mechanism, a mechanical device discovered in a shipwreck off the coast of the Greek island of Antikythera, which dates back to around 100 BCE. The device is believed to be an early analog computer used to predict astronomical events, and its complexity and precision are strikingly advanced for the time period in which it was created. The Antikythera mechanism has led some proponents of the ancient astronaut theory to suggest that it may have been influenced by extraterrestrial technology or knowledge, as it appears to represent a level of engineering and understanding of mechanical devices that was not seen again in Europe until the Renaissance. Another example of a mysterious artifact is the Baghdad battery, a clay jar found near Baghdad, Iraq, that dates back to around 2000 BCE. The jar contains a copper cylinder and an iron rod, which some researchers believe may have been used as a primitive galvanic cell, capable of generating electricity. The idea that ancient civilizations had access to electricity or some form of energy generation is a key argument in the ancient astronaut theory. If such technology was known to the ancients, it would suggest that they either had access to extraterrestrial knowledge or were influenced by extraterrestrial beings who possessed advanced technology capable of harnessing and generating energy. Additionally, ancient astronaut theorists often point to the discovery of out-of-place artifacts, which are objects that appear to belong to a time period much later than the one in which they were found. These artifacts are often described as technologically advanced or having features that seem to defy the historical timeline. For example, there are claims of ancient sculptures depicting flying machines or helicopters, which some interpret as evidence that ancient humans may have had access to advanced aerial technology. Similarly, certain ancient depictions of flying gods or chariots of fire are sometimes interpreted as representations of advanced alien spacecraft, suggesting that ancient cultures had contact with extraterrestrials who possessed flying machines. While mainstream archaeology and history typically reject the idea that extraterrestrial technology influenced ancient civilizations, proponents of the ancient astronaut theory argue that many of the extraordinary achievements of the ancient world, ranging from monumental architecture to sophisticated scientific knowledge, cannot be fully explained by the technologies and resources available to ancient peoples. The theory suggests that extraterrestrials may have provided the knowledge and tools necessary for these advancements, either directly or indirectly. The loss of this advanced technology over time, whether due to the collapse of civilizations, natural disasters, or the passing of knowledge through generations, is seen as an explanation for why much of the technological prowess of ancient civilizations was not preserved. The idea of lost extraterrestrial technology is not just limited to physical artifacts or structures. Some ancient astronaut theorists also speculate that the knowledge of advanced technology could have been passed down through oral traditions, myths, and religious teachings, but has been obscured or lost over time due to the erosion of ancient cultures and the rise of modern religions. This idea is sometimes referred to as the forgotten legacy of the gods, in which the gods of ancient mythologies are seen as symbols of extraterrestrial visitors who brought advanced knowledge and technology to early humans. As civilizations evolved and religious systems developed, this knowledge may have been reinterpreted as divine wisdom, leading to the loss of the original extraterrestrial connection. While the idea of ancient extraterrestrial technology remains speculative and controversial, it continues to be a central and compelling aspect of the ancient astronaut theory. Whether through the construction of monumental structures, the development of advanced scientific knowledge, or the discovery of mysterious artifacts, the theory suggests that extraterrestrial visitors may have played a key role in shaping the technological landscape of ancient human civilization. The role of ancient sacred texts and scriptures in supporting the ancient astronaut theory is a significant aspect of the argument for extraterrestrial intervention in early human history. Many proponents of the theory believe that sacred writings, including religious texts such as the Bible, the Quran, the Vedas, and other ancient scriptures, contain hidden references to extraterrestrial encounters and advanced technologies. According to this view, the descriptions of divine beings, gods, angels, or otherworldly visitors in these texts are not purely mythological or symbolic but instead recount real interactions with extraterrestrial beings who visited Earth in ancient times. By reinterpreting these ancient scriptures through the lens of modern extraterrestrial theory, proponents argue that many of the religious stories that were once thought to be purely spiritual or allegorical may actually be records of extraterrestrial encounters. One of the most well-known examples of a sacred text that is often cited by ancient astronaut theorists is the Bible. In particular, the Old Testament contains numerous references to heavenly beings descending from the sky or interacting with humans in ways that seem to resemble extraterrestrial visitation. One of the most frequently discussed passages is the story of the Nephilim in the book of Genesis. The Nephilim are described as the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men, and their appearance is said to have caused great turmoil on earth. The sons of God are sometimes interpreted by ancient astronaut theorists as extraterrestrial beings, while the Nephilim themselves are seen as evidence of a hybrid human extraterrestrial race. The idea that these heavenly beings descended from the sky to mate with humans and produce a new, powerful lineage is often cited as evidence that the Bible contains hidden references to extraterrestrial genetic manipulation. Another key biblical story often linked to the ancient astronaut theory is the account of Ezekiel's vision, found in the book of Ezekiel. In this passage, the prophet Ezekiel describes a spectacular vision of a chariot that comes down from the sky, driven by four living creatures, with wheels that seem to move in all directions. The description of this celestial vehicle, with its wheels within wheels, and its ability to move in various directions, has been interpreted by ancient astronaut theorists as a depiction of an advanced extraterrestrial craft, possibly a spacecraft. The way Ezekiel describes the craft's appearance and movement is seen as resembling modern depictions of flying saucers or UFOs, which leads some theorists to suggest that Ezekiel's vision may have been an encounter with extraterrestrial beings or technology. In addition to the Bible, many other sacred texts from different cultures are also examined for possible references to extraterrestrial encounters. For example, in Hinduism, the ancient scriptures known as the Vedas contain numerous references to vimanas, which are flying machines described as being capable of flying through the air and traveling to other worlds. The descriptions of vimanas are detailed in ancient Hindu texts like the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, where they are portrayed as advanced craft used by the gods to travel between realms. Some ancient astronaut theorists interpret these descriptions as evidence that ancient civilizations had contact with extraterrestrial beings who possessed advanced technology capable of interplanetary travel. In this context, the gods who flew in vimanas are seen as extraterrestrials, rather than divine figures in the traditional sense. The Quran, the sacred text of Islam, is also examined in a similar way. Some proponents of the ancient astronaut theory point to verses in the Quran that describe heavenly beings, or angels, coming from the sky to interact with humans. The Quran also speaks of the jinn, which are supernatural beings created from smokeless fire, who are sometimes depicted as being able to travel between different realms. The Quran's descriptions of these beings and their abilities have been interpreted by some as references to extraterrestrial visitors with advanced technologies, potentially from another planet or dimension. The notion of divine or supernatural beings descending from the heavens to interact with humans is a common theme in many religious texts, and ancient astronaut theorists argue that these stories may be more than just spiritual allegories, they may reflect actual encounters with extraterrestrial beings. Additionally, the Sumerian texts, such as the Epic of Gilgamesh, contain references to gods or divine beings who come from the heavens to assist or interact with humans. The Sumerians spoke of the Anunnaki, a group of gods who were said to have come from the sky to teach humans various skills, such as writing, agriculture, and metallurgy. Some ancient astronaut theorists believe that the Anunnaki were extraterrestrial visitors who played a role in shaping early human civilization, and their knowledge and technology may have been passed down through sacred texts and oral traditions. The Anunnaki are often seen as a precursor to the concept of sky gods or extraterrestrial visitors in other cultures, making them a key element in the argument for ancient alien contact. Furthermore, the Mayans and other indigenous cultures of the Americas have sacred texts and oral traditions that are often cited in support of the ancient astronaut theory. The Mayan civilization, for instance, was known for its highly advanced understanding of astronomy, mathematics, and timekeeping, which some theorists believe may have been influenced by extraterrestrial knowledge. The Popol Vuh, an ancient Mayan text, contains stories of gods who descend from the heavens, and some interpretations of these texts suggest that the Mayans had contact with extraterrestrial beings who shared their astronomical knowledge. Similarly, the Dogon people of West Africa have long spoken of a race of beings from the star system Sirius, which they claim visited their ancestors and imparted knowledge of the stars. These references to celestial visitors and advanced knowledge are seen by ancient astronaut theorists as evidence of extraterrestrial contact, documented in the sacred texts of indigenous cultures. The argument that sacred texts contain hidden references to extraterrestrial encounters also ties into the idea that ancient religions and myths may have been inspired by these interactions. Ancient astronaut theorists argue that religious stories about gods, angels, and divine beings descending from the sky could be reinterpreted as records of actual extraterrestrial visitations, but that over time, the true nature of these beings was obscured by religious and cultural frameworks. As civilizations developed, the line between extraterrestrial visitors and divine entities may have blurred, with extraterrestrials being transformed into gods or angels through the lens of religious belief. This reinterpretation of ancient texts is a key component of the ancient astronaut theory, which seeks to uncover the hidden history of human interaction with extraterrestrial beings. Critics of the ancient astronaut theory argue that the interpretations of sacred texts presented by proponents of the theory are overly speculative and ignore the cultural and symbolic contexts in which these texts were written. They maintain that these texts should be understood in their religious and mythological contexts, as expressions of human imagination, spiritual belief, and cultural understanding, rather than as literal accounts of extraterrestrial encounters. However, the idea that ancient scriptures contain hidden references to extraterrestrial beings continues to be a compelling aspect of the ancient astronaut theory, offering a unique perspective on the intersection of religion, mythology, and the possibility of extraterrestrial life. For those who support the theory, sacred texts may contain important clues that, when re-examined with a fresh perspective, reveal the true nature of humanity's ancient interactions with beings from other worlds. The idea that extraterrestrial beings may have played a role in shaping human genetics is a significant component of the ancient astronaut theory. According to this hypothesis, extraterrestrial visitors may have intervened in the evolutionary process of humans, either by directly manipulating human DNA or by influencing the genetic development of early human ancestors. This concept is often referred to as genetic manipulation or genetic engineering, and it suggests that humans may not have evolved entirely through natural processes as traditionally understood by mainstream science but may have been influenced or guided by extraterrestrial beings with advanced knowledge of genetics and biology. Proponents of this theory often point to the rapid advancement of human civilization as evidence that our species may have received external help in the form of genetic enhancements or alterations. Human beings, when compared to other species on Earth, have a relatively short evolutionary timeline and exhibit many traits that appear to be highly advanced in relation to the biological development of other animals. For example, humans have large brains relative to body size, complex language and communication skills, and the ability to build intricate societies and technologies. The sudden appearance of these advanced capabilities, according to some ancient astronaut theorists, might be too rapid and too dramatic to have evolved purely through natural processes, suggesting the possibility of outside intervention in human genetic development. One of the most well-known pieces of evidence cited by those who support the idea of genetic manipulation by extraterrestrials is the so-called missing link in human evolution. While scientists have been able to trace the evolutionary lineage of humans back through various species of primates, there is still a gap in the fossil record that some believe cannot be easily explained by natural evolutionary processes. This gap, often referred to as the missing link, refers to the lack of a clear transitional species that shows how early hominids evolved into anatomically modern humans. Some ancient astronaut theorists suggest that extraterrestrials may have played a role in bridging this gap, either by introducing advanced genetic material or by directly influencing the development of early human ancestors, leading to the rapid appearance of modern humans. In some versions of this theory, extraterrestrials are believed to have conducted genetic experiments on early hominids, such as the Neanderthals or Homo erectus, in order to enhance their intelligence, physical abilities, or other characteristics. This idea is often linked to the notion that extraterrestrial beings may have seen early humans as a species with potential but in need of genetic improvements in order to achieve higher levels of intelligence or other advanced traits. These extraterrestrial visitors, according to the theory, may have used their advanced knowledge of genetics to intervene in the evolutionary process and help humans reach a more advanced state of development. A popular argument among ancient astronaut theorists is that the Sumerian texts, which mention the Anunnaki, contain references to the idea of extraterrestrial genetic manipulation. The Anunnaki are often described as gods who came down from the sky and interacted with early humans, teaching them advanced knowledge and providing them with various technologies. Some proponents of the theory suggest that the Anunnaki may have genetically engineered humans by combining their own DNA with that of primitive hominids in order to create a more intelligent and capable species. This process of genetic intervention, according to this interpretation, would explain the sudden leap in human cognitive abilities and technological development. Similarly, the biblical story of the Nephilim, mentioned in the book of Genesis, is often cited as evidence of extraterrestrial genetic manipulation. According to the text, the sons of God, interpreted by ancient astronaut theorists as extraterrestrial beings, took human wives and had children with them, resulting in a hybrid race known as the Nephilim. Some theorists believe that this story reflects an ancient memory of extraterrestrial beings experimenting with human genetics, creating a hybrid lineage that possessed superior intelligence, strength, or other desirable traits. The concept of hybridization is also present in many other ancient cultures and myths, with gods or extraterrestrial beings frequently depicted as having offspring with humans, further suggesting the possibility of extraterrestrial influence on human genetics. In addition to the Sumerian and biblical accounts, many other ancient texts and myths around the world contain stories of gods or celestial beings interacting with humans in ways that could be interpreted as genetic manipulation. For example, the gods of the ancient Greeks, such as Zeus, often engaged in sexual relations with mortal women, resulting in the birth of demigods, beings who were part human and part divine. Similarly, in many Native American traditions, there are stories of star beings, or sky people, who descended from the heavens and interacted with humans, often resulting in the creation of powerful or gifted offspring. These stories, when viewed through the lens of the ancient astronaut theory, could be seen as ancient accounts of extraterrestrial beings influencing human genetics, either through direct breeding or through the transfer of advanced genetic knowledge. The idea of extraterrestrial genetic manipulation is also linked to the concept of ancient extraterrestrial visitors providing humanity with advanced knowledge and abilities, as mentioned earlier in the theory. If extraterrestrials had the ability to manipulate human genetics, they could have used this knowledge to enhance the human species, making them more capable of achieving technological and intellectual advancements. This would explain, in part, the rapid progress of human civilization, with the development of agriculture, writing, and complex societies occurring relatively quickly in historical terms. Moreover, some proponents of the ancient astronaut theory suggest that the creation of advanced human societies, such as those of Egypt, Sumer, and the Maya, may have been made possible by the genetic enhancement or guidance of extraterrestrial beings. In this view, the extraterrestrials did not only assist in shaping human biology but also played a role in accelerating the development of human culture and civilization. The introduction of advanced genetic traits, such as higher intelligence, physical strength, or even the ability to access higher states of consciousness, would have been key factors in enabling early humans to build monumental structures, create complex systems of government, and achieve feats of engineering and artistry that were far beyond the capabilities of other species on Earth at the time. Critics of the theory argue that there is no direct evidence to support the idea of extraterrestrial genetic manipulation and that human evolution can be explained through natural processes such as natural selection, genetic mutations, and adaptation to environmental conditions. They also point out that the concept of genetic manipulation is based on highly speculative interpretations of ancient texts and artifacts, and that the idea of extraterrestrial influence on human evolution is not supported by mainstream science. Despite the lack of direct evidence, the concept of extraterrestrial genetic manipulation continues to be a compelling aspect of the Ancient Astronaut Theory. By proposing that extraterrestrial beings may have played a role in shaping the genetic makeup of humanity, this theory offers an alternative explanation for the rapid development of human civilization and the extraordinary achievements of ancient cultures. Whether viewed as a literal or metaphorical interpretation of ancient texts and myths, the idea of genetic manipulation by extraterrestrial beings remains an intriguing and controversial aspect of the ongoing discussion about humanity's origins and the potential for extraterrestrial influence in our past. The possibility that extraterrestrial beings influenced the construction of ancient monuments is another key element of the Ancient Astronaut Theory. Proponents of this theory argue that many of the world's most impressive and mysterious ancient structures, such as the pyramids of Egypt, Stonehenge in England, the Nazca Lines in Peru, and the massive stone ruins of Machu Picchu in Peru, may have been built with the assistance of or under the guidance of extraterrestrial beings who possessed advanced knowledge of engineering, mathematics, and construction techniques. According to this view, these extraterrestrial visitors not only provided humans with the technological know-how to create such monumental structures but may have even been directly involved in their construction, either by providing the labor or offering advanced tools and materials. One of the most widely discussed examples of extraterrestrial influence in ancient architecture is the Great Pyramids of Giza in Egypt. These massive stone structures have long been a subject of fascination, both for their impressive size and for the mystery surrounding how they were constructed. The pyramids are composed of millions of large stone blocks, some weighing several tons, and the precision with which these blocks were cut and placed has led many researchers to question how ancient humans, using primitive tools and technologies, were able to achieve such an extraordinary feat. Ancient astronaut theorists argue that the level of precision and the scale of the pyramids suggest that the ancient Egyptians could not have built them alone and that extraterrestrials may have provided the knowledge, tools, or even the physical assistance necessary to construct these monuments. Some theorists point to the idea that the pyramids were designed as a sort of landing pad for extraterrestrial spacecraft, with their alignment to the stars and planets serving as evidence of their celestial significance. The alignment of the pyramids, particularly their connection to the stars of the constellation Orion, is often highlighted as a key piece of evidence in the argument for extraterrestrial involvement in their construction. The ancient Egyptians placed a great deal of importance on astronomy, and the alignment of the pyramids to Orion is seen by some as a deliberate design to honor the stars. According to some ancient astronaut theorists, this alignment could be evidence that the Egyptians were guided by extraterrestrial visitors who had a deep understanding of astronomy and advanced technology. The idea that the pyramids were built with extraterrestrial help is also supported by the theory that the Egyptians may have had access to advanced building materials or methods, such as anti-gravity technology or tools that allowed them to move massive stone blocks with ease, technologies that would have been far beyond what was available to ancient humans. In addition to the pyramids, other ancient monuments around the world are also often cited as evidence of extraterrestrial influence. For example, Stonehenge in England is another site that has long been a subject of mystery and speculation. The monument consists of large stone circles and upright stones, some weighing as much as 25 tons, and it is believed to have been constructed around 2500 BCE. The precision with which the stones are arranged, as well as the monument's alignment with the solstices and astronomical events, has led some ancient astronaut theorists to suggest that Stonehenge may have been constructed with the help of extraterrestrial beings who possessed advanced knowledge of astronomy and construction. The idea that Stonehenge was used as a sort of celestial observatory or as a site for alien contact is a recurring theme among proponents of the theory. The Nazca Lines in Peru are another example of ancient structures that are often cited in support of the ancient astronaut theory. These enormous geoglyphs, which can only be fully appreciated from the air, depict various animals, plants, and geometric shapes. The sheer scale of the Nazca lines, along with their intricate design and the fact that they are best viewed from a high vantage point, has led some theorists to speculate that they were created as markers for extraterrestrial visitors or as messages intended to be seen from the sky. The theory suggests that ancient people, with the help of extraterrestrials, may have created the lines as a way to communicate with alien beings or to guide them to Earth. Similarly, the ruins of Machu Picchu in Peru, an ancient Incan city perched high in the Andes, are often cited as another example of extraterrestrial influence on ancient architecture. The site is known for its sophisticated construction, with precisely cut stonework that fits together without the use of mortar, as well as its strategic location and alignment with astronomical events. Some ancient astronaut theorists argue that the Incas had access to advanced building techniques and technologies, possibly provided by extraterrestrial visitors, which allowed them to create such an impressive and durable site. The Incas' knowledge of astronomy and the precision with which they aligned their buildings to celestial events are often cited as further evidence of extraterrestrial involvement. In addition to these well-known examples, there are many other ancient structures around the world that are sometimes interpreted as evidence of extraterrestrial influence. For instance, the Moai statues of Easter Island, which were carved from volcanic tuff and placed on stone platforms known as ahu, are often cited as evidence of advanced construction techniques. The statues are incredibly heavy, with some weighing as much as 82 tons, and their precise carving and transportation across the island has been a source of mystery for centuries. Some theorists suggest that extraterrestrials may have provided the knowledge or tools to the ancient Rapa Nui people to carve and move the statues, which would have been a daunting task with the primitive technology available to them at the time. The ancient city of Teotihuacan in Mexico, with its massive pyramids and grid-like urban layout, is another site often linked to extraterrestrial influence. The Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon are two of the largest structures in Teotihuacan, and their alignment to certain celestial events, such as the position of the Sun during the solstices, has led some to speculate that the city's construction was guided by extraterrestrials with advanced knowledge of astronomy and urban planning. Critics of the ancient astronaut theory argue that these ancient structures can be explained by human ingenuity and the development of advanced construction techniques over time. They point out that many of these monuments were built over long periods, with generations of people contributing to their construction, and that the ancient civilizations responsible for these sites had a deep understanding of engineering, mathematics, and astronomy, which allowed them to create such remarkable structures. Additionally, critics argue that the interpretation of these monuments as evidence of extraterrestrial involvement is often based on speculation and a misunderstanding of the cultural and historical context in which these structures were built. Despite the criticisms, the idea that extraterrestrial beings may have played a role in the construction of ancient monuments remains a compelling aspect of the ancient astronaut theory. For many, the sheer scale, precision, and complexity of these structures suggest that there may have been some form of external assistance or guidance, whether from extraterrestrial beings or advanced lost civilizations. The possibility that extraterrestrial visitors influenced the construction of these ancient monuments continues to captivate the imagination of many, fueling ongoing debate and exploration of the mysteries surrounding humanity's past. The connection between ancient myths and extraterrestrial encounters is a central theme in the ancient astronaut theory. Proponents of this theory argue that many ancient myths, legends, and religious texts contain references to beings from the sky or gods who descended from the heavens, which could be interpreted as encounters with extraterrestrial visitors. These stories, spread across various cultures and civilizations throughout history, often depict gods or celestial beings imparting advanced knowledge to humanity, guiding the construction of monumental structures, or even genetically altering human beings. According to ancient astronaut theorists, these myths may not be mere allegorical or symbolic tales but could represent ancient memories or records of actual extraterrestrial contact. One of the most famous examples of such myths is the Sumerian texts, particularly the stories of the Anunnaki, a group of gods who were said to have come from the sky. In Sumerian mythology, the Anunnaki were credited with giving humanity knowledge of agriculture, writing, and other technologies, which some ancient astronaut theorists interpret as evidence that these beings were actually extraterrestrials who shared advanced knowledge with early human civilizations. The Anunnaki are often depicted as descending from the heavens in flying craft, and their interactions with humans are described in ways that resemble modern depictions of extraterrestrial encounters. Some theorists even suggest that the Anunnaki were responsible for creating or genetically altering humans through a process of interbreeding with early hominids, helping to accelerate human evolution and intelligence. The Bible also contains stories that some proponents of the ancient astronaut theory interpret as evidence of extraterrestrial encounters. One of the most well-known examples is the story of the Nephilim, mentioned in the book of Genesis. According to the text, the sons of God, often interpreted by ancient astronaut theorists as extraterrestrial beings, took human wives and had children with them, resulting in a hybrid race known as the Nephilim. This tale is seen by some as an ancient account of extraterrestrial beings mating with humans, possibly as part of a larger effort to manipulate or guide the development of humanity. Additionally, the story of Ezekiel's vision, in which he describes seeing a flying craft with wheels within wheels, is often cited as a potential description of a UFO encounter. The vivid and detailed description of the craft's movement and appearance has led some to believe that Ezekiel may have witnessed an extraterrestrial spacecraft and recorded it in biblical text. In Greek mythology, the gods were often depicted as descending from the heavens in chariots or other flying machines. For example, the god Zeus was known for coming down to earth in various forms, including as a swan or a bull, to interact with mortals. The idea of gods descending from the sky, often in chariots or other vehicles, is a recurring motif in many ancient cultures, and proponents of the ancient astronaut theory suggest that these stories may be rooted in actual encounters with extraterrestrial beings who arrived in spacecraft. The Greek myth of the Titan gods, who were said to have come from the heavens and ruled over the earth before being overthrown by the Olympian gods, is another example of a myth that could be interpreted as describing extraterrestrial visitors. Similarly, in Hindu mythology, the gods are frequently described as descending from the heavens in flying chariots, known as vimanas. These chariots are often depicted as advanced vehicles capable of traveling through the air and even between different realms. The Mahabharata and Ramayana, two of the most important texts in Hindu tradition, contain numerous references to vimanas, which are described as powerful, otherworldly machines that could travel great distances and perform incredible feats. Some ancient astronaut theorists suggest that these vimanas may have been actual extraterrestrial spacecraft, and that the gods who piloted them were, in fact, extraterrestrials who interacted with ancient civilizations. The descriptions of vimanas in the ancient texts, with their detailed accounts of flight capabilities and advanced technology, are often cited as evidence of ancient encounters with extraterrestrial beings. The Native American traditions also feature stories of sky people or star beings, which are often interpreted as extraterrestrial visitors. In many indigenous cultures across North America, there are stories of beings who came from the stars and interacted with humans, teaching them valuable knowledge and guiding them in various aspects of life. These beings are sometimes described as having advanced technology, and their arrival in ships from the sky is a recurring theme in Native American mythologies. Some ancient astronaut theorists suggest that these sky people were actually extraterrestrial beings who visited Earth in the distant past and shared their wisdom with indigenous cultures. Similarly, in South American myths, there are stories of gods and beings from the stars who visited ancient civilizations like the Inca and the Maya. The Inca, for instance, believed that their ancestors came from the stars, and their legends often describe beings who descended from the sky to impart knowledge of agriculture, engineering, and astronomy. These stories, according to ancient astronaut theorists, could be evidence of extraterrestrial contact with ancient civilizations, which would explain the advanced knowledge and technologies these cultures possessed. In Africa, there are also numerous stories of sky gods, or beings who came from the heavens to interact with humanity. For example, the Dogon people of Mali have an ancient myth that describes the arrival of extraterrestrial beings from the star system Sirius. According to Dogon legend, these beings, known as the Namo, came to Earth from Sirius and taught the Dogon people advanced knowledge of astronomy, including the existence of Sirius B, a companion star to Sirius that was not visible to the naked eye and was only discovered by modern astronomers in the 20th century. The Dogon's precise knowledge of Sirius B, which they could not have known through conventional means, is often cited as evidence that their ancestors had contact with extraterrestrial visitors. In addition to these well-known myths, there are many other stories from cultures around the world that describe encounters with gods, celestial beings, or visitors from the stars. These stories often share common themes, such as the descent of gods or beings from the sky, the imparting of advanced knowledge, and the creation of hybrid beings. Proponents of the ancient astronaut theory argue that these myths are not just symbolic stories but may be ancient accounts of real extraterrestrial encounters. They suggest that the similarities between these myths across different cultures could be the result of shared experiences with extraterrestrial visitors, who may have left a lasting impact on human history and culture. Critics of the ancient astronaut theory argue that these myths are simply allegorical or symbolic tales, meant to explain natural phenomena or teach moral lessons, and that there is no evidence to support the idea that they represent actual extraterrestrial encounters. They also point out that the idea of gods descending from the sky is a common motif in many mythologies and may reflect the human tendency to personify natural forces or the heavens. Despite these criticisms, the connection between ancient myths and extraterrestrial encounters remains a central aspect of the ancient astronaut theory. For many, the similarities between myths from different cultures suggest that these stories may contain a kernel of truth, pointing to ancient encounters with extraterrestrial beings. Whether viewed as literal accounts or symbolic representations, the ancient myths and legends of gods and celestial beings continue to captivate the imagination and fuel speculation about the potential role of extraterrestrials in human history. The concept of advanced technologies in ancient civilizations is another cornerstone of the ancient astronaut theory, suggesting that some ancient cultures may have had access to technologies that seem far beyond their time. Proponents of this theory argue that the extraordinary feats of engineering, construction, and art created by ancient civilizations cannot be fully explained by the technologies that were available to those societies at the time. As a result, they suggest that these civilizations may have been assisted by extraterrestrial visitors who provided them with knowledge of advanced tools, materials, and techniques that were far more sophisticated than what was believed to have been possible based on historical records. One of the most frequently cited examples of advanced ancient technology is the construction of the pyramids of Egypt. The Great Pyramid of Giza, in particular, has been a subject of fascination for centuries due to the sheer scale of its construction. The pyramid is made up of millions of limestone blocks, some weighing several tons each, and it is aligned with incredible precision to the cardinal points and celestial bodies like the stars of Orion. Given the primitive tools available to the ancient Egyptians, some theorists argue that it would have been impossible for them to have built such an immense structure without the aid of advanced technology, possibly from extraterrestrial beings. The precision with which the blocks were cut and placed is often cited as evidence of knowledge that could not have been acquired using the techniques available to the Egyptians at the time. Some ancient astronaut theorists propose that extraterrestrials may have provided the Egyptians with advanced construction tools or even anti-gravity technology, which would have enabled them to move and place the massive stones with ease. Similarly, the ancient city of Teotihuacan in Mexico is another example of a site that some believe was built with the help of advanced technologies. The layout of the city, the scale of its pyramids, and the precision with which they were constructed have all been points of intrigue for researchers. The Pyramid of the Sun, one of the largest pyramids in the world, is particularly noteworthy for its construction, with its exact purpose and methods of construction still debated. Some ancient astronaut theorists propose that the Teotihuacanos may have had access to advanced technologies that allowed them to construct such a grand city and manipulate materials in ways that would be difficult for early humans to achieve without external assistance. The Nazca lines in Peru also present a similar mystery. These enormous geoglyphs, which are best seen from the air, depict animals, geometric patterns, and other shapes that are spread across vast stretches of desert. The scale of the lines and the fact that they can only be fully appreciated from the sky has led many to question how the ancient Nazca people were able to create them without aerial technology. Some proponents of the ancient astronaut theory argue that extraterrestrial visitors may have helped the Nazca people design and create these geoglyphs, possibly as a means of communication with extraterrestrial beings or as markers for spacecraft to land or navigate by. The precision and complexity of ancient stonework are also often highlighted as evidence of advanced technology in ancient cultures. For instance, the Inca civilization is known for its incredibly advanced stonework, particularly at sites like Machu Picchu and Sacsayhuaman, where massive stone blocks were carved with such precision that they fit together without the use of mortar. These structures, which have withstood centuries of earthquakes and other natural disasters, are often cited by ancient astronaut theorists as evidence that the Incas may have had access to advanced construction techniques or materials. Some suggest that extraterrestrial beings may have shared their knowledge of stone-cutting tools or construction methods with the Incas, allowing them to create such perfectly fitted walls and buildings. The Moai statues of Easter Island are another example of ancient technology that seems to defy the capabilities of the civilization that built them. These massive stone statues, some weighing as much as 82 tons, were carved from volcanic rock and transported across the island to their current locations. The methods used by the Rapa Nui people to carve, transport, and position these statues are not well understood, and some ancient astronaut theorists suggest that extraterrestrial beings may have played a role in providing the technology or knowledge necessary to complete such an extraordinary feat. The idea that extraterrestrials helped the Rapa Nui people move these statues is fueled by the belief that the size and weight of the Moai would have been difficult to manage with the limited technology available at the time. Another example of potential advanced ancient technology is found in the ancient Indian texts, particularly the Mahabharata and Ramayana. These texts describe vimanas, flying chariots or aerial vehicles that were used by gods and warriors to travel across the skies. The vimanas are described as highly advanced machines capable of flight, some even possessing weapons of immense power. According to ancient astronaut theorists, these descriptions could be records of actual extraterrestrial spacecraft that were witnessed by the people of ancient India. The detailed descriptions of the vimanas and their advanced technology are often interpreted as evidence that the ancient Indians had access to knowledge or technology that could have been provided by extraterrestrial visitors. Some theorists suggest that these flying machines may have been used for warfare, exploration, or as a means of transportation, and that their descriptions in ancient texts could be evidence of extraterrestrial contact with ancient civilizations. In addition to these examples, the concept of lost technologies is often discussed within the ancient astronaut theory. This theory suggests that ancient civilizations may have possessed advanced knowledge or technologies that were lost over time due to natural disasters, wars, or the collapse of civilizations. Some proponents argue that these lost technologies may have been shared by extraterrestrial visitors, who imparted their knowledge to humanity in the distant past. After the fall of these civilizations, much of this advanced technology would have been forgotten or lost, leading to a technological gap between ancient and more recent societies. According to this view, the ancient civilizations that are often cited as examples of advanced technology may have been the beneficiaries of extraterrestrial assistance, but their knowledge and tools were eventually lost, leaving only traces in the form of monuments, myths, and legends. Critics of the ancient astronaut theory argue that the technological achievements of ancient civilizations can be explained by human ingenuity and the gradual development of skills and techniques over time. They point to the fact that many of the advanced technologies attributed to extraterrestrial influence were likely the result of trial and error, the passing of knowledge across generations, and the accumulation of expertise in specific fields, such as architecture, astronomy, and engineering. Additionally, they argue that the idea of extraterrestrial assistance undermines the achievements of ancient civilizations, suggesting that they were incapable of achieving greatness without outside help. Despite the criticisms, the idea that advanced technologies were either provided by extraterrestrials or rediscovered by ancient civilizations remains a powerful aspect of the ancient astronaut theory. For many, the astonishing achievements of ancient cultures, such as the construction of the pyramids, the precise stonework of Machu Picchu, and the mysterious Nazca lines, are evidence that humanity was once in contact with beings from other worlds who shared their knowledge of advanced technologies. Whether interpreted as literal truth or as part of a larger mythological narrative, the belief in advanced ancient technologies continues to spark fascination and debate among those interested in the possibility of extraterrestrial involvement in human history. The possibility that extraterrestrials influenced the development of ancient religions is another key component of the Ancient Astronaut Theory. According to this perspective, many of the world's ancient religions, beliefs, and practices could have originated from interactions with extraterrestrial visitors who were mistakenly perceived as gods by early human societies. Proponents argue that the advanced technologies and abilities displayed by these visitors may have led ancient peoples to view them as divine or supernatural beings, thus shaping religious traditions that have persisted through the centuries. This idea is grounded in the notion that extraterrestrial beings, who may have appeared to possess superior knowledge, advanced technology, and even the power of flight, could easily have been revered as gods by cultures that lacked an understanding of such phenomena. One of the primary examples often cited by ancient astronaut theorists is the concept of gods descending from the heavens, which is common across many world religions. In numerous ancient religious texts and myths, deities are described as descending from the sky in chariots, flying craft, or other aerial vehicles. The idea that gods traveled from the heavens, often bringing knowledge or divine gifts to humanity, mirrors modern descriptions of extraterrestrial encounters, where visitors from the sky are seen as possessing advanced technology that is indistinguishable from divine power. In this context, the extraterrestrial visitors could have been regarded as divine beings, with their advanced technology and behavior interpreted as miraculous or godlike. In ancient Mesopotamian culture, for instance, the Sumerian gods known as the Anunnaki are often portrayed as coming from the sky and imparting knowledge to humanity, particularly in fields such as agriculture, astronomy, and writing. According to ancient astronaut theorists, these gods may have been extraterrestrials who shared their advanced knowledge with the Sumerians, leading to the rapid development of civilization in the region. The Anunnaki, with their otherworldly appearance and seemingly supernatural powers, could have been perceived as gods, influencing the religious beliefs and practices of ancient Mesopotamians. The idea that extraterrestrial beings were seen as divine figures is further supported by other mythologies that describe gods descending from the heavens or flying through the skies. In the Bible, several passages have been interpreted by proponents of the ancient astronaut theory as possible descriptions of extraterrestrial encounters. One such example is the story of the sons of God in the book of Genesis, who are said to have taken human wives and fathered a race of giants known as the Nephilim. Some ancient astronaut theorists suggest that the sons of God were, in fact, extraterrestrial beings who intermingled with humans, leading to the creation of a hybrid race. This story, they argue, could represent an ancient attempt to explain the presence of extraterrestrials among early human societies. The notion of divine beings mating with humans is a common theme in many ancient cultures, further suggesting that these beings were seen as powerful and godlike, perhaps due to their superior technology. Similarly, in Hinduism, the gods are often depicted as having the ability to travel through the skies in flying chariots known as vimanas. These vimanas are described as advanced vehicles capable of high-speed flight and maneuvering, as well as possessing powerful weaponry. Ancient astronaut theorists argue that these vimanas could be ancient descriptions of extraterrestrial spacecraft, and the gods who used them were potentially visitors from another world. The detailed accounts of the vimanas and their capabilities suggest that the people who recorded these myths believed the gods had access to advanced technology far beyond what would have been available at the time. In this case, the gods' use of such technology could have been interpreted as miraculous, reinforcing the view that these beings were divine figures. The Mayan civilization, too, has religious traditions that some theorists suggest could have been influenced by extraterrestrial encounters. The Maya worshipped a variety of gods, some of whom were associated with celestial bodies and the heavens. For example, the god Kukulkan, often depicted as a feathered serpent, is believed by some researchers to be a representation of an extraterrestrial being or spacecraft, given the symbolism of serpents and feathers, which could be interpreted as references to flying or space travel. The Maya were also incredibly advanced in their understanding of astronomy, with a detailed calendar system that accurately tracked the movements of celestial bodies. Ancient astronaut theorists proposed that the knowledge of the heavens imparted to the Maya by extraterrestrial beings could have shaped their religious views, leading to the worship of celestial gods who were thought to come from the stars. In Native American cultures, many tribes have legends of sky people, or beings from the stars who came down to Earth to teach the people important skills or to guide them. These beings are often depicted as powerful and godlike figures who bestowed knowledge upon the people, particularly in areas such as agriculture, hunting, and healing. Some theorists suggest that these sky people were extraterrestrial visitors, and their interactions with native peoples were seen as encounters with gods. The idea of sky gods, or star beings, is common in indigenous cultures across the Americas, and these beings are often described as coming from the stars or from other celestial realms. The Dogon people of Mali, in West Africa, are another example of a culture whose religious beliefs have been linked to extraterrestrial contact. The Dogon have a detailed understanding of the star system Sirius, specifically Sirius B, companion star that was not visible to the naked eye and was only discovered by modern astronomers in the 20th century. The Dogon believe that their knowledge of Sirius and its companion star was imparted to them by beings from Sirius, known as the Namo, who arrived from the stars in ancient times. This belief has led some to speculate that the Dogon had contact with extraterrestrial visitors who shared this knowledge with them, influencing their religious and spiritual practices. The connection between the Namo and the star system Sirius suggests that the Dogon's religious beliefs may have been influenced by extraterrestrial knowledge. The ancient astronaut theory also suggests that many of the religious symbols and rituals found in ancient cultures may have been inspired by extraterrestrial encounters. For example, the common symbol of the God's Eye, or Eye of Providence, which appears in many ancient cultures, is often interpreted by proponents of the theory as a representation of an alien or extraterrestrial being's advanced technology, such as surveillance or communication devices. The idea that religious symbols and rituals were influenced by extraterrestrial visitors is also supported by the recurring motif of sacred geometry, which appears in many ancient cultures. Sacred geometry, which involves geometric shapes and patterns believed to have spiritual significance, could have been passed down from extraterrestrial beings who shared their advanced knowledge of mathematics and geometry. Critics of the ancient astronaut theory argue that the interpretation of religious beliefs and myths through the lens of extraterrestrial influence undermines the cultural and spiritual significance of these traditions. They suggest that religious stories and practices are more likely to be the product of human imagination and creativity, shaped by social, political, and environmental factors, rather than the result of contact with extraterrestrial beings. They also point out that the presence of similar themes and symbols in the religious traditions of different cultures may reflect universal human experiences and archetypes rather than extraterrestrial influence. Nonetheless, the idea that extraterrestrial visitors played a role in shaping ancient religions continues to captivate the imagination of many. Whether seen as literal truth or as part of a larger narrative, the belief that gods and extraterrestrials were one and the same continues to fuel speculation and debate about humanity's ancient past. For proponents of the ancient astronaut theory, religious stories and beliefs from around the world may hold the key to understanding the true nature of ancient encounters with beings from other worlds. The concept of ancient alien artifacts is another fascinating element within the ancient astronaut theory. These artifacts are often thought to be physical evidence of extraterrestrial contact in antiquity, showcasing technology, materials, or designs that seem inexplicable or advanced beyond the capabilities of ancient civilizations. Proponents of the theory believe that such artifacts may represent remnants of extraterrestrial technology, or at least the influence of extraterrestrial beings, on the development of human society. These objects, often mysterious and out of place within their cultural context, are seen as potential proof that ancient humans were not alone in their development, and that extraterrestrial beings played a significant role in shaping our history. If you like this video, please give us a like and leave a comment behind. Also, don't forget to subscribe since we have a new video every week. Let's continue with the video now. One of the most famous examples cited by ancient astronaut theorists is the Antikythera mechanism, an ancient Greek analog computer discovered in the Antikythera shipwreck in 1901. Dating back to around 100 BCE, the device is made up of a complex system of gears and dials that were used to predict astronomical positions and eclipses. The precision and complexity of the Antikythera mechanism were not replicated until the development of similar devices in the 14th century, making it an incredibly advanced piece of technology for its time. Some theorists argue that the existence of such an intricate and advanced mechanical device in ancient Greece suggests the influence of extraterrestrial knowledge or technology, as it would have been beyond the capabilities of known ancient Greek engineering. The theory posits that the knowledge to build such a machine may have been passed down from extraterrestrial visitors who had a more advanced understanding of astronomy and mechanical engineering. Another artifact that has intrigued those who subscribe to the ancient astronaut theory is the Baghdad battery, a collection of clay jars found in Iraq that some believe could have been used as a form of ancient electroplating or an early type of battery. Dating back to around 250 BCE, the jars contain copper cylinders and iron rods, which some theorists claim could have been used to produce a small electrical charge. While mainstream archaeologists argue that these artifacts were likely used for storing scrolls or other items, proponents of the ancient astronaut theory suggest that the technology involved could be evidence of extraterrestrial influence, offering humans a glimpse of advanced energy technologies that were beyond the capabilities of ancient Mesopotamians. If the Baghdad battery was indeed used for electrical purposes, it would suggest that ancient peoples had access to advanced knowledge of electricity long before it was thought to have been discovered. In addition to these examples, numerous other artifacts have been cited as potential evidence of extraterrestrial involvement in ancient societies. One such artifact is the Dropa stones, a collection of disc-shaped stones discovered in the 1930s in the mountains of China. The stones are said to contain strange carvings and symbols that, when decoded, tell the story of an extraterrestrial race that crash-landed on Earth thousands of years ago. The Dropa stones are controversial and have been dismissed by many as hoaxes or misinterpretations, but proponents of the ancient astronaut theory point to them as potential evidence of extraterrestrial contact in ancient times. The carved symbols on the stones are said to represent a form of alien language, which some theorists believe could offer insight into the nature of extraterrestrial communication and their interactions with early human civilizations. The Piri Reis map, a 16th-century world map drawn by the Ottoman Admiral Piri Reis, is another artifact frequently mentioned by ancient astronaut theorists. The map is notable for its remarkably accurate depiction of the South American coastline and the continent of Antarctica, including regions that were not officially discovered until centuries later. In particular, the map shows the coastline of Antarctica without ice, which has led some theorists to suggest that the map could have been based on ancient knowledge or maps that were passed down by extraterrestrial visitors. The level of accuracy on the Piri Reis map, especially in regard to the Antarctic coastline, has led some to speculate that ancient civilizations had access to advanced knowledge of the Earth's geography, potentially with the help of extraterrestrials. The Nazca stones, and the Thuparts, out-of-place artifacts, found at various archaeological sites around the world are also frequently cited as evidence for extraterrestrial influence. These stones and objects often appear to be technologically advanced or out of place for their time periods, with some containing strange symbols, unusual materials, or designs that cannot easily be explained by the culture in which they were found. In some cases, these artifacts appear to depict beings or scenes that resemble extraterrestrial creatures or spacecraft. The mystery surrounding their creation and purpose leads some theorists to argue that these objects are remnants of ancient contact with extraterrestrial visitors, or even that they are part of an advanced technology that was left behind by extraterrestrial civilizations. The Sekhmet lioness statue from Egypt, which dates back to the 26th dynasty, around 600 BCE, is another example of an ancient artifact that some believe could be evidence of extraterrestrial contact. The statue depicts a lioness with features that some researchers claim resemble those of an extraterrestrial being, with elongated features and an unusual, otherworldly appearance. Critics argue that the statue is simply an artistic representation of a lioness, a common motif in ancient Egyptian art. However, proponents of the ancient astronaut theory suggest that the features of the Sekhmet lioness are too strange to be mere stylization, and that it could be a depiction of an extraterrestrial visitor or being. In addition to these specific examples, there are countless other ancient artifacts and objects that have been the subject of speculation regarding their extraterrestrial origins. These include ancient sculptures, inscriptions, tools, and even objects with materials that were not known to be available in the ancient world. The central idea is that some of these artifacts display advanced craftsmanship or unusual features that suggest the influence or assistance of beings with far more advanced technology than the humans who created them. Despite the intrigue surrounding these artifacts, critics of the ancient astronaut theory argue that many of these objects can be explained through the context of the cultures in which they were found. They suggest that the complexity and uniqueness of these artifacts are the result of human ingenuity, craftsmanship, and the evolution of technology over time. In many cases, the artifacts in question can be explained by the historical development of science, engineering, or artistic techniques, without invoking extraterrestrial intervention. However, for believers in the ancient astronaut theory, the existence of these artifacts serves as tantalizing evidence that extraterrestrial visitors may have had a hand in the development of ancient human civilization. Whether viewed as evidence of extraterrestrial technology, ancient human achievement, or merely misunderstood relics, these artifacts continue to spark curiosity and debate among those interested in the potential connections between ancient cultures and extraterrestrial life. The idea of ancient alien influence on the construction of monumental structures and megalithic sites is one of the most prominent aspects of the ancient astronaut theory. Many ancient sites around the world, characterized by their immense scale, precision, and architectural complexity, are often cited by proponents of the theory as evidence that extraterrestrial visitors played a role in their construction. These sites, which include some of the most iconic wonders of the ancient world, are believed by some theorists to have been built with knowledge, technology, or assistance that was beyond the capabilities of the civilizations that created them. The argument is that ancient humans, aided by extraterrestrial beings, were able to achieve feats of engineering and construction that would have been nearly impossible with the tools and knowledge available to them at the time. One of the most famous examples is the Great Pyramids of Giza in Egypt. The construction of these massive structures, especially the Great Pyramid, has long been a subject of debate and fascination. Despite numerous studies, the exact methods used by the ancient Egyptians to move and position the enormous limestone blocks, some weighing several tons, remain unclear. Mainstream archaeologists believe the Egyptians used a combination of ramps, levers, and manual labor to construct the pyramids. However, proponents of the ancient astronaut theory argue that the precision and scale of the pyramid suggest the use of advanced technologies, possibly supplied by extraterrestrial visitors. Some theories propose that the ancient Egyptians may have received guidance from alien beings, who possessed knowledge of advanced engineering techniques, or even the ability to levitate or manipulate heavy objects, thus enabling the construction of these colossal structures. In addition to the pyramids, other megalithic sites around the world are also cited as evidence of ancient alien influence. For instance, Stonehenge in England, with its large, heavy stones arranged in a complex pattern, has long been a subject of mystery. The transportation of these massive stones from distant quarries, some of which are located over 20 miles away, would have been a monumental task for the Neolithic people who built Stonehenge. The exact methods used to transport and position the stones remain uncertain, and some proponents of the ancient astronaut theory suggest that the builders of Stonehenge may have had access to advanced knowledge or technology that enabled them to move and position the stones with remarkable precision. Some theorists believe that the stones could have been levitated or moved using anti-gravity technology, a concept often associated with extraterrestrial technology. Similar arguments have been made regarding other ancient megalithic sites, such as the Easter Island statues, Moai, the megalithic structures at Baalbek in Lebanon, and the ruins of Puma Punku in Bolivia. At Baalbek, for example, the ancient Romans built a massive temple complex, but beneath the Roman ruins lie even older megalithic structures made from massive stone blocks, some weighing up to 800 tons. The question of how ancient peoples were able to cut, transport, and position such enormous stones with such precision remains a mystery. Some ancient astronaut theorists suggest that the construction of these massive stone structures was made possible by extraterrestrial beings who provided the technology and knowledge needed to manipulate the stones. The theory posits that these visitors may have had access to advanced tools or energy sources that allowed them to cut and move massive blocks of stone with ease. In the case of the Easter Island statues, the island's isolation and the difficulty of transporting the massive Moai statues across the island have led some theorists to suggest that extraterrestrial visitors may have helped the Rapa Nui people move and erect the statues. The Moai, which weigh several tons and are carved from volcanic tuff, were originally placed on stone platforms called ahu and were intended to represent deified ancestors. The question of how the ancient islanders were able to transport the Moai across the island, especially given the lack of large-scale infrastructure, has led some to speculate that the task may have been accomplished with the help of alien technology. Puma Punku, located in Bolivia, is another megalithic site that has garnered attention from proponents of the ancient astronaut theory. The site contains large, precisely cut stone blocks that are thought to have been part of a complex structure. The stones, some weighing several tons, are cut with incredible precision and interlock with one another in a manner that suggests advanced engineering techniques. The exact methods used to cut and shape the stones remain unclear, and some theorists argue that the technology required to create such intricate stonework could have come from extraterrestrial visitors. The unusual nature of the stonework at Puma Punku, as well as the site's location at high altitudes in the Andes, has led some to believe that the site was either built by extraterrestrial beings or with their assistance. The concept of ancient alien involvement in the construction of monumental structures also extends to the idea that these sites were built for specific purposes related to extraterrestrial contact or communication. For example, many of the megalithic sites around the world, including Stonehenge and the pyramids, align with celestial events, such as solstices, equinoxes, and the positions of stars or planets. Some ancient astronaut theorists suggest that these alignments are not coincidental and may have been deliberately designed to serve as markers for extraterrestrial visitors. The idea is that these structures were created as a way to communicate with or signal extraterrestrial beings, or that they served as landing sites or beacons for alien spacecraft. This theory posits that ancient people may have had knowledge of celestial events and astronomical alignments through their interactions with extraterrestrial beings, who provided them with the knowledge of the stars and planets. In some cases, the design and placement of these structures are believed to reflect a deeper understanding of the cosmos, one that was beyond the capabilities of ancient human civilizations. The precision with which many of these sites were constructed, and the sophisticated astronomical knowledge they demonstrate, suggests that the people who built them may have had access to advanced information that could have been passed down by extraterrestrial visitors. The alignment of the pyramids with the cardinal directions, the alignment of Stonehenge with the solstices, and the astronomical knowledge embedded in the construction of these megalithic sites could all point to an extraterrestrial influence on ancient architecture and engineering. Critics of the ancient astronaut theory argue that these sites and structures were the result of human ingenuity and determination, rather than extraterrestrial influence. They contend that ancient civilizations were capable of remarkable achievements in engineering, mathematics, and astronomy, and that these structures were built using methods and techniques that were available at the time. They suggest that the advanced knowledge displayed in these sites was the product of gradual human development, rather than the intervention of extraterrestrial beings. Despite these criticisms, the idea that extraterrestrial visitors influenced the construction of monumental structures remains a central tenet of the ancient astronaut theory. For believers in the theory, the precision, scale, and purpose of these sites provide compelling evidence that ancient civilizations were in contact with beings from other worlds. Whether these structures were built with the help of extraterrestrial technology or as a means of communicating with alien visitors, the enduring mystery of their construction continues to fuel speculation about the role of extraterrestrial beings in shaping the course of human history. The ancient alien theory, despite its popularity in certain circles, has been met with significant skepticism and criticism from scientists, historians, and archaeologists. While the theory proposes that extraterrestrial beings visited Earth in ancient times and influenced the development of human civilization, there are several key arguments against its claims. Here are some of the primary reasons why the ancient alien theory is often debunked. 1. Lack of concrete evidence. One of the main criticisms of the ancient alien theory is the absence of direct, verifiable evidence to support the idea that extraterrestrials have visited Earth or interacted with ancient civilizations. While proponents of the theory point to various artifacts, structures, and mythological stories as evidence of extraterrestrial influence, these claims are often speculative and unsubstantiated. Many of the alleged pieces of evidence, such as the Nazca lines, the Piri-Reis map, or the Antikythera mechanism, can be explained by human ingenuity in cultural context, without resorting to the hypothesis of alien intervention. In the absence of any physical evidence that conclusively links extraterrestrial beings to ancient human cultures, the theory remains largely unproven. 2. Misinterpretation of ancient artifacts. Critics argue that many of the artifacts and structures cited by ancient astronaut theorists as evidence of extraterrestrial influence are often misinterpreted or misunderstood. For example, the supposed ancient alien depictions in religious or mythological art are often the result of symbolic or artistic expressions, rather than evidence of extraterrestrial encounters. Ancient peoples often used stylized forms of art to represent deities, supernatural beings, or symbolic concepts, and what modern observers might interpret as depictions of aliens could simply be artistic representations of gods or spirits. Additionally, objects like the Antikythera mechanism, once thought to be beyond the capabilities of ancient engineers, have been re-examined by historians and shown to be consistent with the technological knowledge available to the Greeks at the time. 3. Over-reliance on the gods as aliens hypothesis. One of the central premises of the ancient astronaut theory is the idea that ancient gods or deities in various mythologies were actually extraterrestrial beings. For example, the gods of ancient Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Greece are often described as having advanced technology or knowledge that appears beyond the capabilities of ancient humans. However, this argument relies heavily on the assumption that ancient people did not possess the intelligence or capability to understand the world around them and would have attributed extraordinary feats to supernatural beings. It also overlooks the cultural, religious, and symbolic significance of gods and deities, which were often used to explain natural phenomena, human experiences, or moral concepts. The gods of ancient civilizations were often metaphors for larger cosmological ideas, and interpreting them as literal extraterrestrials disregards the rich complexity of ancient mythology and belief systems. 4. Human ingenuity in technological evolution. Another key argument against the ancient alien theory is that ancient civilizations were fully capable of achieving impressive technological feats without the need for extraterrestrial assistance. Many of the purported alien artifacts or structures, such as the pyramids or Stonehenge, can be explained through human innovation, problem-solving, and gradual technological development. Archaeologists and engineers have shown that the construction of the Great Pyramids, for example, was well within the capabilities of the ancient Egyptians, utilizing a combination of ramps, levers, and sheer manpower. Similarly, the construction of megalithic sites like Stonehenge can be attributed to the ingenuity of prehistoric peoples who developed methods of transporting and positioning large stones using simple tools and techniques. The ancient alien theory often underestimates the resourcefulness and creativity of ancient civilizations, attributing their accomplishments to extraterrestrial beings rather than human determination and skill. 5. The argument from Occam's razor. Occam's razor is a principle in philosophy and science that suggests that the simplest explanation, with the fewest assumptions, is often the best. In the case of the ancient alien theory, critics argue that the need to invoke extraterrestrial beings to explain ancient human achievements is an unnecessary and overly complex assumption. Instead, the theory of human ingenuity in gradual technological development offers a simpler, more plausible explanation for the mysteries of ancient civilizations. While it is certainly intriguing to consider the possibility of extraterrestrial contact, there is no compelling evidence to suggest that such an event occurred. In contrast, the idea that ancient peoples were capable of remarkable achievements with the tools and knowledge available to them is far more consistent with the historical and archaeological record. 6. The argument from ignorance. Many proponents of the ancient alien theory rely on the argument from ignorance fallacy, which occurs when something is assumed to be true simply because it has not been proven false. For example, when faced with the question of how ancient people could have built the pyramids, some theorists argue that it must have been the result of extraterrestrial help, because we don't fully understand how it was done. However, the fact that we do not yet have all the answers to every question about ancient construction techniques does not automatically mean that extraterrestrials were involved. The lack of understanding or evidence does not justify the conclusion that alien influence is the most likely explanation. Throughout history, there have been many instances where people have resorted to supernatural or extraordinary explanations for phenomena that were later understood through scientific discovery. 7. The chronological and geographical diversity of ancient civilizations. One of the major flaws in the ancient astronaut theory is its tendency to generalize the influence of extraterrestrial beings across many different ancient civilizations, despite the vast chronological and geographical differences between them. The theory often overlooks the unique cultural, environmental, and historical factors that shaped the development of each civilization. The similarities in architectural achievements or mythological motifs across cultures are often seen as evidence of alien influence, but these similarities can more plausibly be explained by the diffusion of ideas and technologies over time or by the shared human experience of living in a natural world that posed similar challenges. The idea that extraterrestrials visited all these civilizations, from ancient Egypt to Mesoamerica, and left behind similar markers of their influence, is a broad and unfounded claim that disregards the diversity of human history. 8. The risk of underestimating human achievement. Finally, critics of the ancient alien theory argue that it undermines the accomplishments of ancient peoples by attributing their achievements to extraterrestrials. Human history is full of extraordinary accomplishments in science, engineering, and art, and the idea that these feats were achieved with the help of aliens diminishes the accomplishments of the people who made them. By suggesting that extraterrestrials were responsible for ancient achievements, the theory inadvertently implies that ancient humans were not capable of greatness on their own. This view contradicts the spirit of human achievement and the capacity for innovation, creativity, and perseverance that has driven humanity forward throughout history. In conclusion, while the ancient alien theory is an intriguing and entertaining idea, it lacks the solid evidence and logical foundation required to make it a credible explanation for the mysteries of ancient civilizations. The theory often relies on misinterpretation of ancient artifacts, an overestimation of ancient human limitations, and the assumption that extraordinary explanations are required for unexplained phenomena. Ultimately, the more plausible and scientifically grounded explanation is that ancient civilizations were capable of extraordinary feats of engineering, art, and astronomy through their own ingenuity and creativity. In conclusion, while the ancient alien theory captures the imagination and sparks curiosity, it ultimately remains speculative and unsupported by substantial evidence. Despite its appeal in offering an extraterrestrial explanation for the mysteries of ancient civilizations, the theory often overlooks the remarkable capabilities of human ingenuity. The advancements made by ancient cultures in architecture, astronomy, engineering, and art were the results of millennia of development, adaptation, and knowledge transmission, not necessarily extraterrestrial intervention. As our understanding of history and archaeology continues to evolve, it becomes clear that human civilizations, despite facing technological limitations, were capable of extraordinary achievements driven by creativity, perseverance, and resourcefulness. Rather than attributing these accomplishments to aliens, we should celebrate the brilliance of human achievement and continue to explore the many mysteries of the ancient world with a grounded and scientifically rigorous approach. Don't forget to subscribe because we have a new video every week. Bye bye guys.